Welcome back to the saga of Awakening. I ascend with a legendary class. In the previous part, we witnessed Almond Crochet return from a tragic death to 10 years in the past. Armed with future knowledge, he seized the only legendary class in existence, shattering records and dominating every dungeon. He proved he was no longer a pawn, but a player who could crush the arrogant elites beneath his feet. But the solo journey was merely the prologue. In this part, the true storm begins. Almond realizes that to face the coming apocalypse, he cannot fight alone. He begins to build an empire. Tensions rise as top-tier guilds declare war, only to realize they have provoked a monster. However, his rapid growth triggers the butterfly effect, summoning catastrophic world bosses years too early. To save the city from total annihilation, Almond must push beyond his limits and undergo the second-class advancement. New powers, ancient secrets, and a war for survival. The legend of Almond Crochet truly ascends now. Half an hour passes, and Almond still hasn't moved, only steady breathing breaking the tension. Nikki grows uneasy, whispering that he might be trapped in a coma. Anton scans Almond carefully, debating whether to evacuate him from the dungeon. Sylvia calmly reassures them that Almond's soul is still very active. Infernal Knight nods in agreement, arms crossed without a hint of doubt. Dark Pope laughs lightly, insisting Almond will wake up eventually. Suddenly, a sharp electrical pulse erupts from Almond's body. The sky responds instantly, thunder roaring as clouds gather overhead. Nikki freezes, sensing a lightning aura far purer than anything she's felt before. Anton orders everyone to retreat as lightning elements spiral wildly. A pale lightning bolt strikes Almond, but shatters into harmless sparks. More bolts follow, striking once every second as Almond begins to float. Electricity flows through his blood and bones without harming him. Almond opens his eyes, murmuring that this feels unbelievably good. To him, the world now looks like it's filtered through lightning itself. Nikki stammers, realizing this phenomenon only appears at S-rank mastery. Anton mutters in shock, unable to grasp how Almond progressed so fast. Almond shrugs casually and turns off the lightning attraction. He jokes that it was a gamble, and this time it paid off. He briefly checks his skill, confirming lightning mastery has reached S-rank. Nikki asks how long he was unconscious, still shaken. She and Anton press him to explain the method behind this madness. Almond admits the method was extremely dangerous and not repeatable for most. He explains it required absolute confidence and a self-only class skill. Even he admits the leap in progress was completely unexpected. Anton concludes the success was boldness backed by preparation and luck. Almond offers a different reward instead, a core insight. He calls it the state of singular focus. It's born when fear and confidence balance on a razor's edge. The challenge must threaten ruin, yet still be barely achievable. All distractions must be abandoned for a single objective. Nikki and Anton listen, dazed but unable to dismiss his words. Almond sums it up simply, reward on one side, death on the other. Cracking his neck, he hopes the boss is still alive. He wants one more duel to push his lightning even further. With lightning still dancing in his eyes, Almond starts moving toward the dungeon's core. The atmosphere shifts as thunder grows heavier the deeper they advance. Nikki and Anton follow cautiously, clearly reevaluating Almond from scratch. The summons trail along, visibly energized by the lightning-rich environment. As they cross a ridge, the boss arena finally comes into view. A colossal silhouette moves within the storm, slow and deliberate. The dungeon system announces the boss encounter without ceremony. Golden lightning converges at the arena's center, forming a towering figure. The boss reveals itself as a lightning sovereign clad in storm armor. Pressure crashes down instantly, forcing weaker adventurers to tense up. Almond steps forward alone, raising a hand to signal the others to stop. Nikki hesitates, realizing he intends to fight the boss solo. The lightning sovereign raises its arm, summoning a storm lance. Almond exhales slowly, lightning mastery flowing naturally through his mana. Golden haze lightning flickers faintly, responding to the boss's presence. The boss attacks first, hurling the storm lance downward. Almond vanishes in a flash, dodging without breaking stride. He reappears midair, sword already coated in lightning. Their lightning clashes violently, tearing the sky apart. The arena floor fractures as power surges in all directions. Almond grins mid-battle, fully immersed in the fight. Nikki and Anton watch, realizing they can't even follow his movements. The boss roars, drawing deeper power from the storm clouds. Almond feels the pressure spike and welcomes the challenge. Singular focus tightens, drowning out everything except the fight. Golden lightning responds instinctively, amplifying his control. The boss stumbles for the first time, its armor cracking. Almond presses forward, refusing to give it breathing room. Each clash sharpens his understanding of lightning even further. The storm itself starts bending subtly to his will. The battle escalates, far beyond a normal B-rank dungeon fight. Nikki whispers that this looks closer to a disaster than training. Almond laughs, clearly enjoying pushing past his limits. The boss gathers power for a decisive, catastrophic blow. Almond braces, eyes locked, ready to meet it head-on. Away from the fight, Zoran fumes while senior guild members quietly rein him in. Thamus warns that ganging up on GAA members would drag the entire guild into trouble. Romez suggests a loophole, proposing a duel if Almond can be provoked. Zoran agrees immediately, already smiling as a nasty idea forms. Back in the field, a sparkling scarab descends, lightning wings screaming. The side boss fires multiple lightning arcs straight at Almond. Almond absorbs one strike head-on, using lightning-resistant fortification. Golden haze lightning flows calmly through him as he evaluates the attack. The beetle screeches and charges with razor-edged claws extended. Almond dodges upward, lightning lifting him effortlessly into the air. Watching from afar, the Thunderbird party can only stare in disbelief. Almond loses interest, deciding the beetle isn't strong enough anymore. He casually tells the party they can finish the weakened side boss. Henry silently realizes Almond still hasn't come close to exhaustion. As the beetle falls, Almond confirms he'll head for the final boss next. Suddenly, a lightning-charged bird approaches from the distance. Henry frowns, realizing new intruders shouldn't be possible. 3 figures land nearby, and Almond instantly recognizes one of them. Zoran insults Henry and orders him to stay silent. Henry warns the seniors through magic whisper, anxiety rising fast. Zoran steps up and demands Almond remember him. Almond dismisses him coldly, openly mocking his existence. Zoran crosses the line, dragging Lily and Natalia into his insults. Almond's smile turns icy as he decides to indulge Zoran. In a blink, Almond slaps Zoran across the face. Zoran crashes to the ground, teeth flying as he screams for help. Henry orders Zoran removed before things spiral further. Instead, Almond kicks Zoran again, daring the seniors to act. Thamus steps in, sword drawn, trying to stop the situation. Almond welcomes the challenge, lightning flickering across his grin. He vanishes and kicks Zoran away again before anyone reacts. Romez attacks, but his spells fizzle against Almond's fortification. Almond bluntly tells them to fight him seriously. Thamus buffs himself fully and finally goes all out. Even so, Almond dodges everything while casually smacking Zoran around. The Thunderbird group finishes the beetle and freezes when they finally notice what's happening nearby. Luke's bravado evaporates as goosebumps crawl up his neck in pure disbelief. Henry, Anton, and Nikki can only stare as Almond toys with 2 gold-rank veterans. At the same time, Zoran keeps getting tossed around like he weighs nothing. The stat gap is brutal, and the result is painfully one-sided. Almond reads Thamus's sword like an open book and shuts it down every time. Romez fares no better, his spells dissolving before they even matter. Minutes pass, and exhaustion finally hits the gold-rank pair hard. Thamus snaps first, shouting for the fight to stop before he collapses. Romez follows suit, already too drained to continue. Almond stops instantly, not even bothering to look their way. He tells them to heal Zoran, who just got knocked unconscious again. Henry rushes in and pours a healing potion over Zoran's body. Zoran wakes up screaming and scrambles backward like he's seen a monster. Almond's eyes gleam as a dreamy, chilling blade flashes within them. He calmly declares that Zoran will never harm others out of malice again. Invisible cuts slice into Zoran's courage permanently. Almond strips away his predatory desire toward the weak just as cleanly. He forces empathy into Zoran, replacing apathy with crushing fear. Unable to process it all, Zoran collapses unconscious once more. A heavy chill crawls down everyone's spine as silence takes over. Almond casually asks if anyone can contact the outside world from here. When told no, his expression hardens immediately. He summons all of his spirit wraiths in one oppressive wave. Almond orders Nikki and Anton to alert him if anyone tries to flee. He allows the weaker Thunderbird members to climb ahead for the boss kill. Then he turns back to Thamus and Romez with an icy smile. He explains he's stopping them to avoid a guild-wide disaster. Dark Pope laughs and openly asks if they feel like dying today. Infernal Knights mount nays as flames surge higher. Forest Maid Sylvia roots herself, transforming into her Forest Queen form. All spirit wraiths lock on, ready to attack at a single command. Dead silence follows as the pressure becomes unbearable. Thamus finally agrees, promising they won't do anything foolish. Romez nods rapidly, sweat dripping as he accepts the terms. At the crown of the giant tree, lightning-veined leaves form a natural arena under storm clouds. Golden lightning crackles constantly across the arena, never fully fading. The final boss reveals itself as the blitzerking Thunder Eagle. Its sheer size and lightning-aligned physique radiate overwhelming pressure. Almond faces it calmly, clearly uninterested in killing it quickly. Instead, he focuses on receiving and understanding pure golden haze lightning. The Thunderbird group obediently sits at the arena's edge, watching silently. The eagle dives, releasing sweeping arcs of golden lightning. Almond blocks the lightning directly while sidestepping claws and wings. Minutes pass as Almond reads the boss's patterns effortlessly. Soon, the fight looks completely tilted in Almond's favor. The eagle thrashes angrily, unable to land meaningful hits. Watching this, the Thunderbird members begin chatting quietly. Zaya suddenly suggests betting everything on Almond in the tournament. The idea of instant riches spreads quickly among the group. Crag grimly notes the guild just crashed into solid steel this time. He admits Zoran's fate will cause massive backlash. Zaya bluntly says Zoran deserved everything that happened. Attention shifts to Luke, who stayed silent the whole time. Pressed, Luke admits he warned Zoran for personal gain. He openly admits using Zoran while never truly supporting him. Conversation halts as Almond suddenly approaches the group. Behind him, the eagle attacks again but fails to land a hit. Using lightning currents, Almond bursts forward 30 meters instantly. He sits down casually and tells them to finish the boss. The eagle shrieks furiously, offended by the disrespect. The Thunderbird group scrambles into formation immediately. Control magic binds the eagle's wings mid-flight. Heavy offense spells slam into the grounded boss. Meanwhile, Almond quietly completes his lightning comprehension. The system confirms he acquires Golden Haze Lightning. Golden lightning now flickers within Almond's eyes. He notes its purifying, strengthening, and healing-enhancing effects. Satisfied, Almond collects the boss's spirit and turns away. He tells the group to take their time before leaving. Without waiting, Almond vanishes from the arena. Mid-tree, Almond warns Thamus and Romez to leave an hour later. He delivers a blunt message meant for Zoran's father. Mentioning Admiral Rudra ensures absolute silence. Almond dismisses his spirit wraiths and prepares to leave. He signals Nikki and Anton, ending the dungeon run. After they leave, Thamus confirms the entire incident was recorded. They agree to hand it to the Vice Guild leader instead. Henry warns them not to drag the entire guild into ruin. Silence falls as they stare at the unconscious Zoran. After leaving the dungeon, Almond, Nikki, and Anton return to the GAA branch in Thunderbird City. Within half an hour, a private GAA jet carries them back toward Firefly City. On the way home, Almond stops at a stylish treehouse restaurant to unwind. Seated at a corner table, Almond enjoys the breeze while planning his next moves. He lists 4 priorities before the Rising Star tournament even begins. First, mastering the Lightning Dragon skill set tops the list. Second, he needs to finalize the name and personality of his 9th spirit wraith. Third, Almond plans to fuse the first-floor boss spirit with 19 others. Finally, unlocking the guaranteed Super Rank Forge option sits at the end. While eating, Almond updates Admiral Rudra about everything that happened. Earlier attempts failed since Rudra had been inside a signal-blocking dungeon. By 7 in the evening, Almond finally returns to his peaceful courtyard. He releases all his summons, letting them relax under a few simple rules. Almond pulls out freshly forged spirit items from high-level dungeon loot. He tasks Alfred with listing the items through Silverbird services. Still buzzing with lightning energy, Almond decides to continue training tonight. After a hot shower, he changes into a comfortable white robe. He begins studying the Lightning Dragon skill book in earnest. With S-rank lightning mastery, the techniques come naturally to him. Lightning Tail Whip forms as a dragon-shaped arc of electricity. Voltron Edge coats his blade in violent, controlled lightning. He immediately starts tweaking the skill runes to suit his style. Meanwhile, an emergency meeting unfolds inside Thunderbird Guild. Executive watch Romez's recording in grim silence. Seeing Almond dominate 2 gold ranks sends shock through the room. Vice Leader Zolan explodes in rage over his son's condition. Guild Leader Kalen refuses to escalate the matter to Earth Union. Admiral Rudra's name alone makes everyone hesitate. Zolan storms out, choosing personal vengeance over guild safety. Far away, shadowy figures whisper about Hollowstar's plan. They plan to strike during the Rising Star tournament's peak. Back home, Almond finishes forming refined Lightning Dragon runes. Exhausted from the long day, he collapses into deep sleep. He wakes at 10, refreshed, and jumps straight into brutal training. Julian and Roken arrive and are dragged into the regiment. Almond grins, promising sword insight and ruthless side-class training. Morning training begins with Almond correcting Julian's basic downward slash. Almond mirrors the motion, his blade leaving a faint cut in the ground. Julian's slash only pushes air, exposing the gap in their technique. Almond explains the sword must move as part of the body. He orders Julian to close his eyes and feel the sword differently. Julian slashes again, sensing pain and instability in his posture. Almond explains cutting air causes micro-level instability. He describes using the air instead of fighting it. Julian vows to repeat the motion until he understands it. Infernal Knight Ashgar kneels and asks to join the training. Amused, Almond allows Ashgar to train alongside Julian. Ashgar begins practicing basic chops, adapting his catalyst blade. Around them, the courtyard hums with controlled chaos. Sylvia calmly tends the garden, unfazed by the noise. At the beach, Chimera Frank beats Viper Fiend after a staring contest. Nearby, Crystalist and Starlight Beast brawl without skills. Almond watches briefly, satisfied with their mana development. At a table, Alfred and Dark Pope oversee spirit item sales. Silverbirds repeatedly take items away for delivery. Almond heads to the backyard, where Roken forges intensely. Almond challenges Roken to help forge a super-rank sword. They visit a private forge, run by veteran smith Arthur and Baskill. Epic materials line the forge, radiating immense pressure. The forging fee shocks Roken, but Almond pays without hesitation. Ardoran refuses teaching, instead advertising his own class. Leaving the forge, Almond plans to earn more money fast. Marshal Lapal suddenly summons Almond for an Earth Union trial. The charge stems from the recorded beating of Zoran. Almond calmly promises to bury both father and son with evidence. He requests 10 B-grade dungeons before the trial. Another call comes in, this time from Natalia. Natalia explains Lily entered an enlightenment shutdown. Almond is surprised, then genuinely happy for Lily. Natalia teases him before hanging up laughing. Almond exhales and continues forward, ready for tomorrow's trial. Back in the courtyard, Almond immediately dives into refining his mana techniques. His stats finally support deeper refinement, especially perception, focus, and mana control. He cycles between fortification and the lesser Mana Shroud. Mana Shroud erases his presence, but fails against focus field detection. That limitation leads him toward the real goal, Aura Cloak. Aura Cloak hides even within focus field by mimicking the environment's aura. The technique demands perfect awareness of surroundings and atmospheric patterns. With 200 perception and focus, he can finally attempt it. He studies the aura patterns using focus field instead of brute force. Aura patterns exist everywhere, but copying them is the hard part. His experience with lightning elemental mimicry gives him a head start. Unlike lightning, this requires borrowing, not transforming properties. Hours pass as he repeatedly fails and corrects tiny errors. The effort also sharpens his focus field naturally. Eventually, he switches to fortification, body in fold and weapon in fold. Progress comes absurdly fast, almost like memorization. He decides to push all Stage 1 techniques to level 10 tonight. Julian and Ashkar train nearby, copying pure physical sword motions. Julian shuts off his thoughts and focuses only on the chop. When one arm goes numb, he switches without stopping. Ashkar mirrors the same brutal repetition without complaint. Around them, everyone else continues their own routines. Benedict spars at the beach while monsters clash nearby. Sylvia's garden quietly expands into something exotic. Roken keeps hammering, fueled by rare materials Almond provided. At 9 sharp, Almond's wristwatch updates all his techniques. Every Stage 1 combat technique hits level 10 together. With time left, Almond decides to test his new power. He targets the central dummy from 10 meters away. Lightning Tail Whip erupts as a golden dragon tail projectile. The projectile breaks the sound barrier before impact. The dummy explodes in crackling golden electricity. 3 more dragon tails appear and strike simultaneously. Almond immediately notes the push, shock, and paralysis synergy. He links it mentally with spirit explosion timing. Next, he activates Voltron Edge and weapon in fold together. Golden Haze Lightning amplifies both damage and healing. He swings Wild Blade, releasing a golden lightning arc. The slash lands, finally marking the toughest training dummy. At dawn, Almond arrives at the GAA branch and immediately departs for Siller City. The Earth Union headquarters towers over the city like a silent judge. Inside the ground floor hall, Almond spots Admiral Rudra sitting casually among civilians. As if sensing the stare, Rudra shuts off a hologram and looks up. In the next heartbeat, Rudra appears right in front of Almond. He casually asks if Almond is sleepy, like this is a morning stroll. They decide to walk and head toward a decorative garden. A peaceful garden opens up, complete with benches and a central fountain. Rudra asks for an update on Almond's recent improvements. Almond smiles and raises his hand, palm upward. A perfect orb of golden haze lightning forms, sizzling the air. For the first time, Admiral Rudra shows visible surprise. Almond explains the dungeon battles and his S-rank lightning breakthrough. Rudra listens carefully, evaluating every word. He praises Almond, predicting he'll surpass past platinum records. Almond asks about progress on the massive 10th floor. Rudra reveals it's 3 times larger than the 9th floor. His tone darkens as he admits a growing sense of danger. He mentions a disturbing warehouse in Fulguran's dark zone. Rudra admits he trusts his instincts, even if it draws danger. Almond grins and encourages him to destroy whatever lurks there. Rudra laughs and suddenly challenges Almond to a spar. Moments later, the scene cuts to trial room number 1. 5 judges of varying ages sit in judgment, faces unreadable. To the side, Zoran clings to his father, trembling in fear. At 10 sharp, the doors open and Almond enters with Rudra. Almond is ordered to stand at the podium. Zolan glares at him with bloodshot eyes and raw hatred. The trial officially begins as charges are read aloud. Asked to explain himself, Almond speaks without hesitation. He bluntly condemns Zoran's crimes and his father's involvement. Zolan explodes in protest but is immediately silenced. Almond begins listing Zoran's first crime on the labyrinth's first floor. He describes attempted kidnapping and abuse without flinching. Selena Locke calmly offers truth verification methods. Almond hints the existing video was conveniently incomplete. Zolan raises his hand again, barely containing his rage. Zolan explodes in denial, insisting everything was a lie and nothing can be proven. He argues Zoran's condition blocks truth verification, calling it all provocation. Almond calmly smiles and says he already has solid proof. The judges lean in, demanding to hear exactly what proof he means. Almond states simply that Zoran himself will confess the truth. He gently prompts Zoran to be honest, reminding him he's a better man now. Zoran trembles, stands, and tries to speak toward the judges. Zolan grabs him violently and shouts that this is manipulation. He accuses Almond of destroying his son's mind and ethics alike. The judges warn Almond to stop and demand proper evidence. Almond counters calmly, questioning why Zoran is being silenced. Before the argument continues, crushing pressure fills the room. Admiral Rudra stands and walks forward, eyes cold and commanding. He reminds the judges to judge and asserts his authority over the case. Rudra declares Zoran will confess and the investigation will follow. He warns the judges not to test whether they're listening. The judges break into sweat, visibly shaken by the pressure. Almond suppresses a grin, silently cheering the intervention. In a flash, Rudra seizes Zolan, accusing him of silencing his own son. Zolan screams for help as strange power restrains his body. Rudra slams him down, ending resistance without embellishment. One sharp glance from Rudra forces the judges back into silence. With the room subdued, Almond asks Zoran to confess again. Zoran nods shakily and begins confessing everything. He admits targeting an orphaned woman and her younger sister. He reveals a hidden mountain house used to imprison them. The confession ends with uncertainty about their fate. Almond stands frozen, rage barely contained behind his eyes. Rudra silences objections and ends further disruption immediately. The trial is dismissed, pending investigation and verification. Afterward, Rudra deploys teams to investigate the hidden location. Almond demands execution for both father and son, voice cold. Rudra agrees, explaining why restraint is needed until proof is secured. Almond requests to witness the execution personally. Rudra studies him briefly, then agrees without argument. Lily and Natalia finally step out of the labyrinth gate, instantly swallowed by noise, tears, and relieved families everywhere. Around them, parents cry openly, hugging their kids like they just came back from the dead. Most of these people aren't hardcore fighters, just citizens forced into adventuring by the system. They farm the first floor endlessly, choosing safety over glory and paying taxes the boring way. GAA keeps pushing them upward, dangling subclasses like shiny bait on a stick. Lily spots her parents standing apart, calm but watching her like hawks. Natalia waves enthusiastically, already grinning like this is a victory parade. Lily's father laughs loudly, instantly clocking their growth just from how they walk. Her mother smiles softly and invites everyone home for a celebratory feast. Lily pauses, locking eyes with her parents, clearly signaling something serious first. Meanwhile, across the plaza, Jacob's father keeps pacing, checking the gate again and again. 5 minutes pass, and panic starts creeping into his eyes. A guild member tries to stop him, but worry overrides logic instantly. Crushing his cigarette, he vanishes into the gate like a storm breaking loose. Not long after, his vice leader slips in too, choosing the first floor. Inside, they spread out blindly, knowing time is already working against them. A strange sensation creeps in, like unseen eyes tracking every step. Back in the city, Lily sits in her family mansion, drink untouched. She asks the question she's been holding back since the gate. Her parents' expressions change instantly, confirming her fears. Natalia nearly chokes on her drink when arcane eyes get mentioned. The truth lands hard. The first floor is already being watched. Lily asks the one question that really matters now. The answer is a clean no, straight from the top. That realization makes Lily quietly connect the final dots. Her parents finally learn what happened to Jacob. The name Almond slips out, changing the room's atmosphere completely. Lily doesn't hesitate anymore when she says who he is to her. The room freezes the moment the word boyfriend lands. The word boyfriend hits like a flashbang, and Dagon just stares at Lily in disbelief. Sabrina recovers faster, already wondering what kind of unlucky guy got caught by Lily. Lily pouts instantly, clearly offended on Almond's behalf. Natalia jumps in laughing, casually confirming Almond is just as insane as Lily. That somehow makes Dagon more worried instead of reassured. After the jokes fade, Lily's expression hardens, signaling it's story time. She starts bluntly, admitting Almond killed Jacob and 2 others. Natalia quickly cuts in, insisting they rewind all the way to the beginning. Together, the girls start explaining who Almond really was back at the academy. Meanwhile, deep inside the labyrinth, Draven gives the order to pull out. Rufus points out the obvious. Whatever they sensed is way above their clearance. Both of them now fully realize the rumors were true. Arcane eyes rushed into place just days ago, quietly watching everything. They weren't just spying on monsters, but on people. Back in the city, Draven returns to Wild Hunt's massive guild base. He drops onto the couch, cigarette lit, nerves clearly frayed. Orders fly out fast. Invite the academy batch and track every missing student. Before the call even goes through, another one comes in. GAA representatives announce they'll arrive in 10 minutes. Soon after, 3 sharply dressed figures walk into the guild base. Business comes first, dungeon doors and contracts calmly discussed. But once the deal ends, the tension finally leaks out. Draven admits it outright. His son never came back. He's already thrown every resource he has into searching. Finally, he asks for the one favor he never wanted to owe. Access is denied, but sympathy is. A promise of cooperation is the most he can get. As they leave, plans quietly shift toward the Darkwood family. Back at the mansion, Lily and Natalia finally finish explaining everything. Sabrina looks stunned, clearly impressed despite herself. Dagon rubs his temples, already feeling the headache coming. Impressive or not, everyone agrees on one thing: this situation is bad. Sabrina exhales slowly, admitting this whole situation is way more complicated than it looks. She explains only 3 people can see the arcane eyes footage, and none of them are easy to reach. The word Grand Admiral instantly makes Lily's eyes light up. She blurts out that her dad knows him, and possibly well. Dagon chuckles dryly, recalling how that friendship involved a lot of broken bones. He admits the man follows rules like scripture, but he's fair. Sabrina carefully reframes the issue, focusing on what Almond actually did. She confirms Almond only killed the three who attacked first. That alone puts him outside the list of people marked for punishment. Still, Dagon warns Almond will definitely be summoned for questioning. The name Ridra alone makes that sound unavoidable. That's when Lily finally snaps and stands up. She declares she's moving in with Almond, no matter what happens. Her voice leaves no room for negotiation. She vows to crush anyone who harms him, no matter who they are. Natalia nervously asks what happens if it comes to that. Lily answers without hesitation. She'll get strong enough to topple them. The room falls completely silent after that. Dagon and Sabrina exchange a look, realizing she means every word. Sabrina gently reassures her that Almond won't be ignored. Dagon promises he'll personally escort Almond if he's summoned. Natalia suddenly realizes this might be about recruitment, not punishment. Sabrina explains the Grand Admiral tests talent before trusting it. Lily finally relaxes, slumping back with a relieved grin. Natalia mutters that Almond is annoyingly more level-headed than Lily. Sabrina's tone turns cold when she mentions the real criminal. If Arcane Eyes saw everything, that man is already finished. Dagon admits Almond's restraint would impress Ridra himself. The tension finally breaks as talk shifts back to normal life. Natalia immediately announces she needs a shower badly. Lily yawns, stretches, and follows her upstairs. Halfway up, Sabrina tells Lily she's proud of her. Lily grins back, saying she's proud of them too. As night deepens, Draven waits restlessly for answers that never come. Far from Frostar, the Global Adventurer Association towers over Skytree City like a metal god. At the very top, a hidden elevator opens in a zone normal people will never see. A towering old man steps out, looking anything but old. This is Grand Admiral Rudra, a frontline monster disguised as a bureaucrat. He walks toward a sealed door guarded by GAA's central AI. The AI demands mana verification, no exceptions, not even for him. His mana flares briefly, and the door instantly recognizes him. Inside waits a room filled with screens, and one very relaxed man. That relaxed man casually greets his father like this is a living room. Rudra instantly teleports behind him and smacks his head without mercy. The victim, Aryan Deva, complains but clearly survives the punishment. This is Aryan Deva, rank 3 globally and somehow still alive. Rudra warns him once again about ignoring orders. Aryan immediately backs down, smiling like a man dodging death. Then Aryan points at the screens and tells his dad to watch closely. On screen, Almond tears through monsters like he owns the floor. Rudra's relaxed posture vanishes the moment he sees that footage. Aryan explains this footage is already 3 hours old. Worse, Almond is now in areas even Arcane Eyes can't reach. Rudra asks the question that matters: did this kid kill others? Aryan orders the AI to rewind to the very beginning. The screen shows Almond cornered by 3 young men at spawn. Rudra immediately complains the cameras still lack audio. Even without sound, he reads lips and understands everything. The moment Almond gets attacked first, Rudra's face hardens. Hearing Jacob brag about his father makes things worse. When Almond is killed first, Rudra's patience disappears completely. Then Almond revives, and the tone of the room shifts. Rudra recognizes a triggered special condition immediately. Aryan starts listing Almond's absurd abilities like it's casual trivia. Rudra pauses everything, ordering full playback at triple speed. As Aryan leaves, Rudra settles in, fully invested in Almond's journey. 2 full hours pass before Rudra finally finishes watching every recorded moment. The Arcane Eyes coverage is patchy, scattered across outer zones and major regions only. A few roaming eyes luckily caught Almond rampaging through fallen monastery town. Rudra narrows his eyes, confused why Almond keeps killing monsters at max level. This isn't training or experimentation. It's fast, efficient, intentional slaughter. Rudra stands and starts pacing, hands locked behind his back. Farming drops makes no sense either, not with a class that creates items. Gold farming feels unlikely too, especially after dating Dagon's daughter. Rudra checks the clock and realizes it's already morning in Frostar City. Without hesitation, he orders Astra to call Dagon. Back in Frostar, Dagon answers with a knowing chuckle. Rudra gets straight to the point, asking about almond crocheted. Dagon admits he knows little more than what the footage already shows. Rudra orders almond brought in the moment he exits the labyrinth. Dagon asks for one favor, already knowing the answer. Rudra casually assures him Draven won't get what he wants. The call turns personal when Rudra teases him about a son-in-law. Asked for his analysis, Rudra doesn't hold back. He describes Almond as focused, empty of distractions, thirsty for strength. Then comes the real verdict, monster-level genius. Rudra compares his sword growth to Mozart touching a piano. But talent alone isn't enough. Rudra wants to test his heart. Dagon agrees, promising to bring Almond once he emerges. Rudra ends the call abruptly, clearly amused. Later, Rudra grumbles about Dagon's daughter finding love before his son. Astra casually drops a bomb about Aryan's secret offspring. Rudra explodes, cursing his son's recklessness. Meanwhile, Draven hosts a smiling party while boiling inside. He barely shows his face before leaving Rufus to handle things. Reports come in, 3 students still missing. 2 are Jacob's friends, the third is Almond. Draven learns Almond was bullied poor and lived in the dorms. Then comes the real pattern. 6 students vanished from the same spawn. Draven slams the armrest, finally seeing the thread. He orders Jace questioned immediately, desperate for answers. Rufus reports back that Jace saw the group early, then left fast and saw nothing else. Draven immediately suspects Jace is lying, anger flaring without restraint. Rufus explains Jace passed focus field checks and showed no signs of deception. Draven gulps wine and coldly suggests killing Jace anyway. Rufus freezes, realizing Draven is spiraling toward madness. Draven explodes, convinced someone murdered his son, not monsters. Wine glass shatters as grief finally overwhelms his fury. He mutters apologies to his dead wife, voice breaking completely. Rufus remembers how Marilyn died, saving Draven years ago. Rufus realizes if Draven snaps, Wild Hunt Guild will be finished. Draven orders Rufus to pressure the GAA and question Lily and Natalia. Rufus leaves immediately, determined to stop this from becoming a massacre. At the GAA branch, Rufus meets Sabrina and lays everything bare. He warns that Draven is close to losing control completely. Sabrina listens quietly, already thinking several steps ahead. After Rufus leaves, Sabrina admits letting Draven snap would be disastrous. A risky plan slowly takes shape in her mind. The plan hinges entirely on Almond and the Grand Admiral's approval. Sabrina knows it only works once Almond leaves the labyrinth. She calls Dagon and explains Rufus' visit and her idea. Dagon agrees it might work and promises to contact Rudra. Meanwhile, Lily and Natalia begin deep training early that morning. They dive into a mindscape tied to their third-class specialization. Hours pass, daylight fading into night, but they never move. Deep in the labyrinth, Almond finally allows himself to sleep. He hasn't slept once since Lily and Natalia left. In 30 hours, he wiped out multiple inner and major areas alone. By the 4th day, Almond reaches the Valley of Shadowsong. Elite monsters spawn, turning the area into perfect hunting grounds. Almond skips weak enemies, targeting only stronger silver-ranked foes. 5 brutal hours later, the valley is completely cleared. His 3rd spirit wraith finishes forming at last. Boss spirits fuse together into something completely unnatural. The result isn't elegant like Alfred, but something far more unstable. A 7-foot hulking wraith stands before Almond, twitching unnaturally. The new spirit wraith doesn't settle into one shape, its body constantly adapting. Monstrous wings burst out, blending fairy elegance with harpy brutality. Its arms twist and reshape, hardening into lethal blade-like forms. The creature suddenly grows larger, its presence crushing the space around it. Then it fully abandons humanoid form and turns into a nightmare beast. 4 legs, multiple wings, 3 tails, and 3 twisted heads emerge. Each head looks different, yet all stare forward with murderous focus. Almond calmly names the abomination Chimera Frank. Despite its monstrous look, its stats are absurdly high already. Boss monster spirits clearly push this creation far beyond normal limits. Almond is already planning an even more unhinged spirit wraith next. He sets aside humanoid boss spirits specifically for his next experiment. Leaving the valley behind, Almond heads for the doomed citadel. The citadel falls fast, stats rising as bosses collapse one by one. A rare grade item drops, briefly catching Almond's attention. Without stopping, Almond moves on to Wonder Treetopia. This massive area gets speedrun just as ruthlessly. By the time it's cleared, his 4th spirit wraith is complete. Almond doesn't even bother using any spirit wraiths. He keeps stuffing spirits into another Kodoku without hesitation. As sunset nears, Almond storms into the plagued necropolis. Before midnight, the entire inner area is wiped clean. With 4 spirit wraiths guarding him, Almond finally sleeps. The first floor's map is now mostly conquered. Only the burial light forest remains among inner areas. At the very center waits the heart of Wilderd. The floor boss needs 4 special rank items to appear. Almond plans to kill it directly instead of doing the floor trial. 8 hours later, Almond wakes up and resumes his solo run. Elsewhere, Lily and Natalia remain deep in uninterrupted meditation. 23 hours pass, pushing the skill insight limit. At the final hour, both of them finally open their eyes. Natalia collapses first, groaning about the headache. Lily smiles, already replaying her dream of new powers. At noon sharp, Sabrina and Dagon appear on a secure video call with Grand Admiral Rudra. Sabrina calmly lays out her plan to defuse Draven before he detonates. Rudra bristles instantly, cursing Draven for raising his son with cruelty instead of sense. After a long sigh, Rudra agrees to the plan but slashes the timeline to 3 days. That shorter deadline catches Sabrina and Dagon completely off guard. Dagon laughs it off, trusting Rudra's judgment after seeing Almond fight. Sabrina admits she's eager to finally see Almond in person. Rudra cuts the mood, reminding them Almond still has to pass his test. Dagon answers without hesitation, saying Lily's judgment is good enough for him. Rudra rolls his eyes, amused that they accepted Almond's sight unseen. Before cutting the call, Rudra orders Han to bait Draven with partial truth. An hour later, Draven nearly leaps out of his chair when Han calls. Han tells him Arcane footage access has been approved. Draven's voice trembles as he asks if his son's fate is known. Han explains Draven must wait 3 days before watching anything. After a pause, Draven agrees and starts planning his flight. That delay is enough to keep the fuse from burning out. That evening, Lily and Natalia wake up fully rested. They eat dinner while watching global news scroll across the TV. The broadcast hypes a so-called super rookie clearing dungeons solo. Giant Ranford ignores reporters until he drops a cocky promise. Natalia scoffs immediately, calling him arrogant. Lily laughs, casually saying she'll knock sense into him someday. Their talk shifts to the brutal reality of the Rising Star tournament. Lily warns Natalia that raw talent won't be enough to win. She explains the tournament will be stacked with trained elites. Natalia insists she'll still break into the silver top 100. Lily points out she needs real combat training and weapon mastery. Natalia decides to focus on mastering the flute first. Plan set, Lily reminds her their flight leaves at 9 tonight. Before leaving, Lily mentions her parents want to talk about Almond. Lily and Natalia listen as Sabrina explains the plan, comparing it to baiting a dangerous fish. Lily grins openly, confident Almond will pass Rudra's moral test without trouble. Dagon nods but rushes off, called away by a dangerous A-rank dungeon breach. Sabrina turns her sharp gaze on Lily, already thinking several steps ahead. She offers to open Natalia's remaining chakra points before their departure. The training room quickly fills with focused energy as preparations begin. Sabrina works efficiently, opening Natalia's chakra points with practiced ease. Night falls by the time they finish, barely half an hour before departure. The airport buzzes with activity, Magitech planes humming quietly. 3 hours later, Firefly City's massive skyline comes into view. Natalia reunites with her grandparents, while Lily meets her guild escort. Hazel Saul introduces herself, clearly sizing Lily up at first glance. Hazel jokes about attention, but Lily shuts it down instantly. They walk toward the car, small talk turning increasingly awkward. Lily casually carries her umbrella, hiding an epic defensive artifact. The conversation drifts into guilds, classes, and relationships again. Lily answers politely, but clearly loses interest in the topic. Suddenly, Hazel curses and slams the brakes hard. A 3-meter dungeon gate materializes right in the middle of the road. Lily steps out calmly, already reaching for her weapons. She identifies it instantly, a D-rank dungeon gate. Her outfit shifts into a hazy black mantle as power activates. Daggers lock into place as she declares she's going in. Before Hazel can stop her, Lily leaps straight into the gate. D-rank dungeons are small and contained, barely larger than a first-floor major area. Even with fake suns and moons, their borders never actually move. Some dungeons are castles or towns, others tunnels, forests, or mountains. No matter the shape, the structure stays the same every time. First comes the starting area, packed with weak, disposable mobs. Go deeper and elites appear alongside real resources. At the end waits the boss room and the only exit. Lily steps into a lush meadow filled with domes of colorful flowers. D-rank monsters cap at bronze 10, making this almost a stroll. She experiments freely, testing new angles and attack styles. Dreadspire Mantle hums constantly, draining vitality with every hit. The call gauge crawls upward, slowed by how weak the enemies are. By the time she reaches the boss garden, it finally hits full. The boss reveals itself as a massive carnivorous flower. Lily decides this is the perfect moment to test her summon. Lupin of Darkened Flame materializes in a burst of heat. The wolf moves instantly, becoming a massive flaming claw. The flower boss is torn apart in a single, overwhelming strike. Victory chimes ring as Lily grins, already wanting more. She exits the dungeon to find guild staff securing the site. Arya of Crimson Shadow greets her with a knowing smile. The summoned wolf emerges too, stunning everyone present. Lily dismisses it, realizing summons persist unless dispersed. Arya takes her hand, and Shadow transports them instantly. They reappear at League of Fireflies gates in total silence. Guild formalities pass quickly before a combat evaluation begins. Hours later, Lily dives straight into another dungeon. Natalia spends the night with family, laughing like old times. By morning, Lily clears a C-rank dungeon under Arya's watch. Deep in the labyrinth, Almond prepares to summon the floor boss. 4 special items are placed as the summoning countdown begins. Each spirit wraith takes position, covering every direction. Almond steps back as the air itself starts to break. Lord Wildard the Broken finally answers the summoning. The summoned floor boss towers over everything, a 50-meter giant of broken stone and glowing scars. Its shattered sword drags across the ground, while a hooked arm gleams with menace. Lord Wildard throws its head back and releases a roar that shakes the arena. Almond doesn't wait, his eyes flashing as he attacks first without hesitation. Divine Divider's harvest carves through the boss, instantly having its vitality. Almond absorbs the stolen vitality, his presence suddenly as heavy as the boss itself. With a single command, every spirit wraith attacks at once. Alfred drills a spiraling vortex of flame straight into the giant. Chimera Viperfiend fires a condensed beam like a railgun. Chimera Frank roars, shockwaves ripping across the boss's body. Dark Pope lashes out with shadows that drain strength directly. Forest-made Sylvia answers with a blazing beam of golden sunlight. Crystal shards rain down as Chimera Crystallist bombards from above. Starlight Beast crashes down like a falling star. Infernal Night follows with a sweeping arc of molten destruction. Still standing, the boss swings its broken sword in fury. Almond steals its strength again, stacking power on power. Physical enchantment triggers, pushing his strength beyond limits. He meets the incoming blade head-on without backing down. Leaping upward, Almond unleashes 5 slashes in rapid succession. The final explosion obliterates Lord Wilderd completely. Rewards pour in as Almond lands, adrenaline surging hard. A treasure chest appears, something no one has ever earned before. Almond stores it away, trusting Lily's pouch without hesitation. Exhausted, he captures the boss spirit and collapses on the spot. 10 hours later, Almond wakes as memories flood his mind. Visions of another world's destruction burn into his thoughts. Fragments of a past life finally fall into place. Understanding dawns, and his presence fundamentally changes. A dormant X-rank trait awakens within him, tenacity. Despair fades, replaced by an unbreakable drive forward. He vows to protect this world and destroy whatever threatens it. 2 GAA guards keep watch at the Frostar City Labyrinth gate as another cycle nears. They complain about chasing an unknown student who should already be dead. Just as they speculate, the gate suddenly flares brighter. Almond casually walks out, stretching like he just woke from a nap. The guards freeze when they see his almond golden eyes. They introduce themselves as GAA and ask him to come quietly. Almond agrees instantly, already guessing Lily arranged everything. Soon after, Almond arrives at the GAA branch office. Inside, Lily's parents silently size him up the moment he enters. They immediately sense his stats are absurd for silver rank. Almond greets them politely, confident and completely steady. Sabrina reveals Lily already told them everything. Dagon confirms it flatly, then asks Almond to sit. They reveal Arcane Eyes recorded the entire incident with Jacob. Sabrina reassures him that Jacob's father hasn't seen the footage yet. Almond asks if the bullying footage was also captured. Sabrina confirms it, explaining the plan to defuse Draven. They reveal the plan was approved by Grand Admiral Rudra himself. Sabrina explains Draven must see the truth to stop him snapping. Almond calmly guesses GAA intends to eliminate Draven afterward. Both parents are briefly stunned by how sharp he is. Sabrina openly accepts Almond as Lily's partner without hesitation. Almond blushes slightly, smiling despite himself. Dagon explains Almond will be used as bait in the plan. Almond accepts it instantly, showing zero fear. He explains Rudra's approval guarantees his survival. Then he hints at his real reason by flashing his grim blade. The sheer quality of the power leaves both parents impressed. They agree to move forward and prepare to depart for Skytree City. Almond declines rest, asking only for a shower before leaving. Dagon freezes, struggling to believe Almond cleared a floor boss alone. Sabrina looks just as shocked, silently recalculating everything she knew. Almond casually explains his summons helped, but the real credit lies elsewhere. He offers to demonstrate his class skill directly, if they're willing. Dagon laughs loudly, instantly agreeing and bracing himself. Almond activates Divine Divider's harvest without hesitation. An invisible force washes over Dagon and Sabrina instantly. Both of them feel their strength drop sharply, clear and undeniable. Sabrina immediately connects the dots, eyes gleaming with understanding. Dagon bursts into laughter, impressed beyond words. Almond names his class calmly, Riffville Grimblade. He restores their strength as casually as he took it. Later, Almond and Dagon arrive at the Darkwood family mansion. After a quick shower, they depart aboard a private Magitech aircraft. In just 1 hour, they cross continents and reach Skytree City. Meanwhile, Mr. Han escorts Draven into a restricted GAA corridor. Draven enters alone, greeted by Admiral Rudra's silent back. The screen lights up, showing Jacob and his companions at spawn. Draven's breathing falters as the bullying unfolds clearly. The footage freezes at Almond's collapse, silence crushing the room. Rudra explains the punishment Jacob would have faced under new law. The footage jumps ahead to the Goblin settlement incident. Explosions erupt, and Jacob falls in a blink. Draven screams his son's name, barely holding himself together. Rudra explains Almond's second awakening with detached precision. Draven's hatred locks onto Almond, burning past reason. Asked directly, Draven forces himself to submit outwardly. Rudra invites him to spectate Almond's moral test. Draven leaves, desire to kill burning hotter than ever. Alone again, Rudra sighs, hoping Almond survives what comes next. Almond stares up at the GAA headquarters, stunned by the layered roads and towering central cone. He's seen it on the news 100 times, but in person it hits different. Old memories surface, reminding him of a similar powerhouse from his past life. The plane lands smoothly, and Almond follows Dagon straight into a waiting car. They head directly to the central building without delay. Mr. Han meets them and escorts them into a secure elevator. The elevator stops at the 32nd floor, opening into a quiet lounge. An imposing old man sits reading a hologram, presence heavy even at rest. Almond recognizes him instantly as Admiral Rudra. Rudra stands, locking eyes with Almond without saying a word. Almond immediately senses overwhelming willpower and mental pressure. He activates Riffville eyes, curiosity winning over caution. The revealed stats are absurd, pushing every mental metric near perfection. Rudra catches him instantly, calling him out with a calm question. Almond coughs and apologizes, surprised he was noticed. Rudra admits he guessed based on body language alone. Dagon laughs, joking that Rudra is already teaching Almond. Rudra shuts it down, announcing the morality test will happen now. As they walk, Almond sneaks another scan, confirming Rudra's absurd integrity. They enter a white chamber with glass walls and a single pedestal. A shimmering, multicolored orb rests atop the pedestal. Rudra explains the truth-seeking orb and its unforgiving nature. Almond places his hand on the orb without hesitation. Rudra warns that the orb reveals truths even the speaker may not know. Almond answers confidently when asked if he's ready. The first question echoes through the chamber: why did he kill them? Under the orb's influence, Almond explains his revenge without hesitation. He calmly adds survival logic and future threats to his reasoning. The room falls silent, shocked by the depth of his answer. Outside, Draven clenches his fist, barely containing his killing intent. Draven protests, calling Almond ruthless for judging Lamp's future. Rudra shuts him down, declaring saints useless in this world. The truth-seeking orb glows steadily, signaling Almond's answer contained no lies. Draven's face twists as the confirmation hits him like a hammer. Rudra calmly states the verdict: Almond acted within acceptable bounds. That single sentence shatters Draven's last hope for retribution. Rudra adds that Jacob's actions alone triggered the fatal outcome. Draven snaps, shouting that Almond decided his son's future. Almond answers calmly that Jacob already chose it himself. The orb flares brighter, reinforcing Almond's words as truth. Silence crashes down, as even Draven runs out of arguments. Rudra declares the morality test complete and successful. He announces Almond is now under GAA protection. Draven stiffens, realizing any retaliation now means open war. Rudra warns him plainly that obsession leads only to ruin. Draven bows stiffly, forcing compliance while hatred simmers. Without another word, Draven turns and leaves the chamber. The moment he's gone, the pressure in the room finally lifts. Rudra turns his attention fully back to Almond. He admits Almond's mindset is exactly what this era requires. Almond listens respectfully, neither boasting nor shrinking back. Rudra offers him a conditional invitation into deeper GAA affairs. Almond accepts without hesitation, already expecting this path. Rudra warns that this road will attract monsters far worse than Jacob. Almond replies that monsters are exactly what he's prepared for. For the first time, Rudra smiles genuinely. The meeting ends, setting Almond firmly on a dangerous new trajectory. Rudra studies Almond quietly, clearly seeing the gears turning behind his calm eyes. Content reference Zoicite, 0 index equals 0. Rudra praises Almond's intuition, hinting he already understands what kind of man stands before him. Almond speaks up, proposing a suggestion that sounds suspiciously like an experiment. Rudra raises an eyebrow, clearly intrigued, and invites Almond to continue. Almond explains how he subtly crippled Draven's caution using his power. Rudra admits he sensed something, but only barely, impressed by its refinement. He guesses the power must come from a class beyond SSS rank. Almond is surprised Rudra even knows such a rank might exist. Rudra casually reveals he recently upgraded his own class to SSS rank. Almond drops the real proposal, using Draven as a test subject. He suggests carving away more of Draven's mind, until only obedience remains. Almond argues it's better than killing or imprisoning him outright. Rudra acknowledges the logic, but mentions political headaches from Earth Union. He coldly adds that such objections never stopped GAA before. Rudra agrees to imprison Draven publicly, while hiding what happens next. Almond nods eagerly, clearly pleased with the arrangement. Rudra formally asks if Almond will join the GAA. Almond agrees, but immediately lists additional conditions. First, he requests assignment to the Firefly City branch. Rudra approves instantly, without hesitation. Second, Almond demands absolute secrecy about his classes and powers. Rudra agrees, hinting at unseen forces lurking in the dark. He recalls sensing something wrong during a past floor boss battle. With terms settled, Rudra prepares to begin Almond's evaluation. A massive blue crystal cube rises from the floor at his command. Rudra orders Almond to display his status first. Almond's status screen appears, packed with abnormal values. Rudra blinks twice, shocked by how close Almond is to silver limits. He explains rank-based stat limits, leaving Almond stunned. Almond decides to save his unassigned points immediately. Rudra asks about the source of Almond's growth, already suspecting the truth. Almond explains his primary class grant stats directly from kills. Rudra nods, calling it a rare foundational type advantage. He orders Almond to punch the crystal cube with full power. Almond strikes and the cube flashes, displaying a shocking result. Rudra admits the crystal cube can't measure Almond's true power without shattering. He waves it away and orders a proper chakra scan instead. Both sit down, and Rudra places his palm firmly against Almond's back. Rudra praises the open chakra points, then decides to unlock the rest himself. A sudden jolt hits Almond in places he really wasn't expecting. There's no pain, just an unsettling rush of comfort. Rudra casually asks what other mana techniques Almond knows. Almond admits he only knows physical enchantment and magic whisper. He boldly asks to learn Aura Enfold next, confident he'll grasp it fast. Rudra approves, saying it's the only technique Almond can learn right now. Almond also asks for Focus Field and Fortification, without hesitation. Rudra agrees to teach all three to a usable level today. Almond lights up, thrilled he can finish early and head to Firefly City. Rudra jokes about not keeping him from his increasingly famous girlfriend. While Almond trains, Lily and Natalia are pushed just as hard elsewhere. Natalia focuses on mastering her flute before tomorrow's entrance exam. Focused sound waves slam into targets with precise, piercing force. Meanwhile, Lily trains Aura in Fold under Lady Arya's watchful eye. Blue Aura marks the first level, stable but demanding perfect control. Back at GAA, Almond finally stabilizes Aura in Fold properly. 10 hours later, he even reaches level 2, shocking Rudra. They move on quickly to focus field training next. Half an hour later, Almond can observe everything around him. Rudra praises the result, warning him not to rush advanced levels. Finally, Rudra activates fortification to demonstrate its true form. Almond watches in awe, knowing he's far from that level. A translucent golden film coats Rudra's body, flowing like perfectly still water. Content reference Zoisite, 0 index equals 0. The fortification even extends over his clothes, showing terrifying mastery. Rudra explains that every chakra path must form a single flawless network. He stresses that no chakra point can branch or overlap. Almond nods and immediately closes his eyes to focus inward. Rudra tells him to keep practicing and steps out briefly. Half an hour later, Rudra returns and instantly notices success. A stable fortification, Aura, now coats Almond's entire body. Rudra declares it's time to build Almond's official profile. With a gesture, he displays his own classified profile. Almond stares, overwhelmed by the sheer completeness of it. Rudra admits he pioneered every known mana technique himself. He reveals a damaged book from the labyrinth sparked everything. Almond realizes GAA's dominance came from this one man. Rudra casually claims no one can defeat him one-on-one. He adds quietly that this only applies to their world. Almond stiffens, immediately catching the implication. Rudra confirms suspicions of otherworldly interference. Almond admits he knows fragments, but needs deeper labyrinth clears. He warns that something massive triggers after the 10th floor boss. Rudra accepts this, deciding to wait for the full truth. The evaluation resumes with brute force testing. Almond punches, triggering a loud explosive impact. Rudra confirms stage 1 level 10 strength boost instantly. Next, Almond maintains focus field for a full minute. Rudra measures a steady 32-meter radius. Fortification comes next, activated in barely 2 seconds. Rudra personally tests it by punching Almond full force. Almond is blasted back as fortification shatters instantly. A wave of healing restores him before he even hits the ground. Laughing weakly, Almond accepts the brutal testing method. Rudra rates his fortification as stage 1 level 2. Almond activates body in Fold, light blue aura hugging his form. Rudra orders Almond to strike him with full power. The punch lands, but Rudra doesn't even flinch. Rudra rates body in Fold at stage 1 level 2, near level 3. Weapon in Fold comes last as Almond draws his sword. The blade extends with invisible power as aura stabilizes perfectly. Almond slashes, his entire body moving in flawless unity. Rudra praises the absurd 48% weapon boost. He assigns Almond the title of Special Hunter for Firefly City. The profile is finalized and sent to the Firefly City branch. Rudra hands Almond a Magitech wristwatch packed with features. Almond activates it, checking his newly completed profile. At the Firefly City GAA branch, Julian squints at a freshly received profile, already annoyed. Content reference Zoisite, 0 index equals 0. His bulky partner Roken leans over lazily, clearly not seeing the problem yet. Julian points out the name, Almond Crocheted Silver Level 10. Roken shrugs, saying the stats don't look better than theirs. Julian snaps back, forcing him to actually read the fine details. Julian explains that silver level 10 means Almond awakened this month. Roken freezes when he realizes that's barely 23 days of training. He blurts out that the profile must be fake. Julian notices the missing combat power value and the weird special hunter title. Roken jokes the guy must be from a big family because he's handsome. Julian snaps back, already in a foul mood. Despite his complaints, Julian admits they have to pick Almond up anyway. Minutes later, Almond lands at the Firefly City airport on a GAA jet. Almond smiles, deciding to surprise Lily instead of announcing his arrival. Inside the arrivals hall, he spots two men holding a sign with his name. They spot each other at the same time. Almond greets them politely, already putting them at ease. Julian answers flatly and turns around without warmth. Roken introduces himself cheerfully, smoothing things over. As they walk, Roken asks about the Crocheted family. Almond explains he's from Frostar City, and the only Crocheted he knows. Roken laughs, admitting he thought Almond came from power. Almond jokes that Lily's family definitely counts as influential. Roken opens up about his recent breakup before the labyrinth opened. He explains choosing his runic blacksmith subclass over combat. Almond reassures him that choosing his own path was right. Julian interrupts, mocking Roken's many crafting failures. They pile into the car, Julian driving toward the branch. Julian warns Almond about the upcoming combat power evaluation. He stresses that weapons and items are strictly forbidden. Almond asks what happens if a summon uses a weapon instead. Roken laughs, admitting they'll have to ask since summons are rare. The conversation shifts to the Rising Star tournament. Julian dismisses Almond's chances with thinly veiled mockery. Almond calmly questions whether GAA profiles can really be wrong. Julian presses him about the mysterious special hunter position. Almond's voice suddenly drops, heavy enough to chill the air. He asks if they're really sure they want to know. Roken swallows hard as Julian snaps for him to just say it. Almond leans in and admits he honestly has no idea. The car screeches violently as Julian nearly crashes. The carriage ride dragged on, with Almond chatting casually while Julian stayed silent and tense. By noon, the sun blazed overhead as the GAA branch finally came into view. They entered the combat evaluation zone, a huge white hall humming with magitech power. Projection systems here could mimic monsters with terrifyingly accurate reactions. Marshal Lopal stood overseeing everything, his presence alone commanding respect. The rules were laid out clearly, and Almond accepted them without complaint. With 1 minute left, Almond casually decided on which summon to reveal. He called out his summon like it was the most normal thing in the world. A violent vortex of fire ripped open the air in front of everyone. Infernal Knight Ashkar emerged, towering and radiating pure volcanic menace. His massive warhorse stomped forward, flames rolling off its spectral body. The sheer size of the summon made the hall feel suddenly smaller. Roken immediately lost his composure, openly impressed by the spectacle. Julian stayed silent, fists clenched as the gap hit him head-on. Marshal Lopal examined the summon carefully, sensing extreme danger. At their request, Almond calmly prepared to show the status screen. A massive holographic status panel unfolded before everyone. As the stats scrolled, the atmosphere turned heavy and silent. When the final skills appeared, shock finally broke loose. Julian felt the unfairness clearly, but turned it into raw determination. Marshal Lopal realized this summon rivaled same-level field bosses. Almond watched their reactions, clearly enjoying the moment. When asked directly, Almond casually revealed his class rank. The words S-rank hit everyone like a blunt weapon. Marshal Lopal's attitude shifted, now seeing a true prodigy. Roken laughed it off, openly admitting his envy. Julian said nothing, silently forging his resolve to grow stronger. The countdown ended, signaling the start of Stage 1. Monsters spawned behind Almond, 5 dire wolves, like the system wanted drama and got ignored instead. The wolves lunged immediately, but Almond didn't even uncross his arms to respond. Almond basically thought one word, burn, and his cavalry summon answered like a flamethrower on legs. The warhorse stomped once, and a flaming shockwave rolled out like a rude welcome mat. The wolves vanished in a blink, incinerated so fast it felt disrespectful to the concept of combat. Stage 1 wasn't done though. 2 goblin archers and a goblin warrior popped in, optimistic and doomed. Arrows flew, and Almond just swatted them away with his hand like annoying bugs. The warhorse crushed the goblin warrior under hoof, while Ashkar carved a long-range flame wave. The goblin archers didn't even get a second shot before the flame wave erased them. More bronze rank waves kept spawning, and Almond treated it like a lazy afternoon stroll. Every wave got deleted before it could look impressive, which honestly felt unfair to the monsters. Stage 1 ended fast, and Marshal Lopal sounded like he expected exactly this nonsense. Almond didn't bother resting. He basically shrugged and asked for Stage 2 immediately. Stage 2 opened with 5 silver rank monsters, and Almond finally decided to move once. He blurred past them in a heartbeat, sword flashing like a clean rewrite of reality. A second later, all 5 monsters flickered and collapsed, like the simulator rage quit. A shadow eagle tried a surprise dive, but Ashkar cut it down mid-approach. Silver monsters kept escalating in level, and none of them landed a single meaningful hit. Julian watched, frowning hard, because Almond's movement screamed stats that make no sense. Roken just stared in awe, half excited and half blank like his brain needed a reboot. Marshal Lopal tried reading Almond's aura, but the kid stayed annoyingly controlled the entire time. A silver level 20 monster charged in, and Almond casually ended it with one clean slash. Roken muttered about combat rank, already assuming Almond was sprinting straight to the top. Julian confirmed it through gridded focus. Almond's mana control was cleaner than theirs, somehow. The last Stage 2 spawn was a mini-boss, and Almond finally gave Ashkar a real command. Ashkar and his mount burst forward in a dark red flaming rush that looked like a moving explosion. The mini-boss got obliterated on impact, and Stage 2 ended with a literal boom. Marshal Lopal clapped, smiling like he'd just found the season's most terrifying new recruit. Roken joked about tournaments and champions, while Julian silently swallowed his pride and accepted reality. Almond cracked a finger, smiled faintly, and asked for Stage 3 like he was ordering dessert. Stage 3 meant gold rank monsters all the way up to level 100, so even Lopal looked curious. Almond finally agreed to rest, sat down cross-legged, and slipped into meditation like a pro. Lopal shooed Julian and Roken out, reminding them about training and that tournament pressure cooker. After they left, Lopal revealed the cameras were off, offering Almond a chance to hide his real rank. Lopal mentioned a message from Admiral Rudra, and Almond acted polite while clearly keeping secrets. Almond admitted the simulator couldn't handle his strongest tricks, so this test had a hard ceiling. Still, he stood up, rolled his shoulders, and told Lopal he was ready to start. Gold rank waves came hard, and Almond actually had to work for it this time. Almond deliberately pushed Ashkar into a fatal moment, triggering the mount's sacrifice to power him up. With the powered-up Ashkar, Almond pushed through 5 brutal waves and finally hit B5 combat power. Almond looked drained at last, and Lopal casually asked if he planned to reveal more summons. Almond calmly decided not to reveal more summons, knowing his stamina was already spent. Marshal Lopal offered to register his combat power, clearly aware this was unusual territory. Almond casually asked about the revealed combat power of silver rank super rookies. When he heard the answer, Almond quietly chose to set his rank just below the spotlight. Marshal Lopal explained Almond's special privileges under Admiral Rudra's authority. Almond realized the old admiral was giving him freedom instead of chains. He requested useless rare-grade items, treating it like a casual grocery list. Lopal agreed and promised to send the items to the training zone shortly. As Almond left, his thoughts drifted eagerly toward Lily. He headed into the training zone and immediately sensed something tense unfolding. Julian was sparring and clearly on the losing end of a brutal exchange. Demand toyed with him verbally, confidence dripping from every word. Roken snapped back angrily, clearly unhappy with how the fight was going. Julian forced himself up again, refusing to back down despite the pain. Demand moved in a blur and shattered Julian's defenses with a brutal strike. Julian collapsed, and the sparring match was clearly over. Almond stepped in calmly, deciding this was enough. With a wave, he summoned Forest Maid Sylvia to heal Julian. Sylvia released soothing green wisps that completely restored Julian. Her presence instantly drew attention from everyone nearby. Almond quietly dismissed her once the healing was done. The group quickly surrounded Almond, curious and suddenly very friendly. Introductions flew, along with not-so-subtle flirting. Roken bluntly shut it down by announcing Almond already had a girlfriend. The girls fired back instantly, turning the moment chaotic and loud. Eventually they backed off, offering help and city tour instead. Roken smugly claimed he and Julian would handle the tour anyway. The group finally split up, leaving Almond alone with his thoughts. His focus returned to Lily, eager to reunite after so long apart. With business done, Almond prepared for what came next in the city. Whispers spread fast, especially among the newer girls who couldn't stop staring at Almond. They quietly admired his eyes, his style, and the mystery behind his powerful summon. Some wondered about his class, others about inviting him, despite their no-boys rule. The boys stayed distant, wary of rivalry and the attention Almond was drawing. Julian warned Almond calmly that attention like this often invited trouble. Almond shrugged it off and explained he was heading to the League of Firefly. He even offered Julian swordplay advice, making the invitation hard to refuse. Julian agreed instantly, serious as ever, determined not to waste the chance. Roken tried to jump in for advice too, but someone else arrived first. Demand and his group approached, laughing and clearly looking for friction. He mocked Julian openly, calling it proof of why he never improved. Julian fired back coldly, reminding Demand this wasn't a real fight. Rules prevented violence, leaving Demand nothing but cheap words. Before leaving, Demand threw one last glance at Almond and sneered. Almond quietly noted Demand's negative traits, filing him away for later. He lingered until an officer-ranked woman finally arrived with the items. Nevira Erdent handed over a storage pouch without much conversation. Almond counted the items, slightly disappointed but satisfied enough. He checked the bill and approved the steep price without hesitation. Almond then offered to buy Roken's unwanted rare-grade item. Roken eagerly accepted, slashing the price out of gratitude. Almond laughed and casually promised him a spot in a B-grade dungeon. Roken instantly switched into playful butler mode, bowing dramatically. Julian silently headed out, already acting like the designated driver. Almond mentioned casually that he also wanted to buy a car. Roken immediately switched to advisor mode, asking for his budget. 100,000 gold coins made Roken whistle in approval. The trio got into the car and headed toward the League of Firefly. Julian explained the League's coastal territory and constant monster threats. Roken suggested Almond request assignment to the League's mini-branch. Julian added that the sea defense missions paid well and trained harder. Almond smiled, clearly forming plans beyond simple shopping. As the road stretched on, Almond quietly evaluated Julian's potential. He saw drive, grit, and leadership despite the unfair hand Julian was dealt. Then Almond evaluated Roken, noting his honesty and supportive nature. Almond decided these two would form the core of his future group. Trust, power, and loyalty would be built step by step, starting here. Almond froze for a moment when the League of Firefly base finally came into view. Roken casually explained that this base dwarfed the local GAA branch by several times. Julian parked the car and cut the engine, already slipping into business mode. The trio entered the reception building, lined with multiple service desks. A black-haired receptionist greeted them with practiced politeness. Almond politely asked for Lily Darkwood, expecting a simple answer. The receptionist instantly mistook them for disguised reporters. Roken pointed at himself, clearly offended by the accusation. Julian calmly clarified that they were from GAA, not the press. That only made things worse, as the receptionist shut them down harder. Almond tried again, asking politely for Lily to be called out. When Almond whispered that he was Lily's life mate, everything exploded instantly. Security was called, and the trio was escorted out in record time. Outside, Julian clicked his tongue, questioning Almond's lack of contact info. Roken realized Lily was the same super rookie everyone kept talking about. Before they could leave, a group of Firefly members approached them. The red-haired senior Riker questioned their purpose bluntly. Once Lily's name came up, mocking laughter followed immediately. Almond stepped forward, deciding subtlety was officially useless here. He openly challenged the League's strong newbies, inviting a proper fight. A brown-haired newbie eagerly proposed a high-stakes gold coin wager. The arena was chosen, and the challenge was accepted publicly. Almond raised the stakes by revealing a rare weapon as collateral. Shock spread instantly as its true value became obvious. Despite warnings, Almond handed the item to Julian without hesitation. Almond leapt onto the arena platform, landing opposite his opponent. Cyrus introduced himself arrogantly, already underestimating Almond. Almond calmly drew his praying hunter's sword in response. Observers realized Almond carried multiple top-tier rare drops. Almond casually formed a glowing star-shaped magic symbol. He introduced himself as a summoner, smiling lightly. With zero hesitation, Almond called forth a new summon. He announced the summon's name, Starlight Beast, without drama. Cyrus froze as the summon fully materialized, shock wiping the smugness off his face. The Starlight Beast drew every gaze the moment its cosmic glow settled. More spectators gathered instinctively, pulled in without realizing why. Cyrus tried to shake it off, telling himself size didn't mean power. Almond casually gave the command, sounding almost bored as he did. A circular cosmic pulse expanded from the beast, quiet for half a second. Then Cyrus' knees slammed into the platform before he could even react. Almond blinked, realizing the skill hit much harder than expected. Cyrus screamed, barely staying conscious as his body screamed back. Riker rushed in immediately, calling the match without hesitation. Almond quietly analyzed the cause, sensing Cyrus amplified the damage himself. With his voice boosted by mana, Almond invited the next challenger. Riker encouraged the crowd, clearly interested in testing Almond further. The second challenger barely lasted a second after the gong rang. Riker frowned, realizing this wasn't simple repulsion at work. A third challenger entered, and neon stones formed under each force step. The fight ended almost instantly, leaving stunned silence behind. Whispers spread as even top silver newbies failed without landing a hit. One by one, challengers stepped up and fell just as fast. Almond never moved from his original position throughout it all. 10 minutes later, even a level 30 silver adventurer failed. That challenger managed to injure the beast, but nothing more. Almond issued 3 precise commands, ending the fight cleanly. No one could reach Almond or even strike him from afar. Starlight Beast guarded him flawlessly with its shimmering veil. By the end, the arena fell quiet, dominated by awe and fear. Almond scanned the arena once more, then sighed when no one stepped forward. Just as the silence settled, a powerful voice echoed across the arena. Xavier Roserf landed cleanly on the platform, instantly igniting cheers. The crowd rallied behind Xavier, shouting his name with certainty. Almond studied him carefully, recognizing the famous super rookie instantly. Xavier complimented the summon, but warned Almond it wouldn't be enough. Starlight Beast growled low, clearly offended by the arrogance. Almond casually agreed, which only sharpened Xavier's focus. Xavier activated multiple buffs, layers of light wrapping his body. The referee struck the gong, and the battle began instantly. Xavier fired a piercing beam straight at Starlight Beast's head. Nebula's shield formed just in time, swallowing the beam harmlessly. Xavier was already moving, launching himself straight for Almond. He aimed a non-lethal but devastating radiant pierce at Almond's shoulder. Instead of blood, sparks exploded and Xavier was violently repelled. Xavier landed hard but stabilized, eyes shaking in disbelief. Almond calmly evaluated Xavier's buffs with professional interest. The arena fell silent, stunned that Xavier had been pushed back. Starlight Beast charged, finally unleashing its full aggression. Starburst Leap, followed by Cosmic Pulse, detonated across the platform. Xavier dodged the leap, but got smashed by the gravity shockwave. Meteor Rush turned the beast into a blazing comet aimed at him. At the last moment, Xavier vanished in a flash of blue light. He reappeared near Almond, already launching Radiant Pierce again. Almond sidestepped less than half a meter, dodging by a palm's width. Xavier barely processed it before the beast was on him again. Xavier unleashed his strongest strike, Crimson Spiral. The beam pierced Starlight Beast, dropping its vitality instantly. Almond applauded calmly, genuinely impressed by the performance. Xavier questioned Almond's calm as a new summoning circle formed. Xavier attacked instantly, firing needle-like projectiles mid-charge. Almond shattered them barehanded, ignoring the pain entirely. Blades met as Almond blocked Xavier head-on this time. Almond calmly revealed he didn't even need gestures to summon. Black tendrils erupted as a humanoid figure manifested behind Xavier. Dark Pope Benedict fully emerged, radiating sinister authority. The arena erupted as people realized the summon could speak. Dark Pope mocked Xavier, enjoying the sudden shift in power. Almond reminded him this wasn't a fight to the death. Dark Pope grinned wider, clearly ready to continue the fun. Dark Pope Benedict's status information unfolded, instantly unsettling the entire arena. The moment his quirks appeared, experienced adventurers felt genuine dread. Almond calmly ordered him to activate Shadow Dominion and start playing. Darkness surged outward, swallowing the platform in a suffocating shadow zone. Xavier's expression tightened as his perception skills suddenly failed him. No mana trail, no presence. Dark Pope had completely vanished. Xavier debated rushing Almond, knowing hesitation meant ambush. Almond's carefree voice echoed, daring him to make a move. Grinding his teeth, Xavier dashed forward at full speed. A whip-like crack split the air, forcing Xavier into an emergency dodge. Almond smiled, praising Xavier's reactions like it was a lesson. While the fight dragged on, the audience multiplied at a frightening pace. Roken muttered in awe, counting how many terrifying summons Almond had. Julian bluntly confirmed Almond had already revealed 4 powerful summons. Riker frowned, realizing Xavier was slowly being cornered. Sam quietly concluded Xavier lacked the mana to win this exchange. They realized Xavier couldn't safely use his trump card without vision. Elsewhere, Natalia dragged Lily toward the arena in excitement. Natalia hyped the rare staff bet, already imagining victory. Lily calmly deduced the challenger could only be Almond. They reached the arena, only to find every platform empty. A nearby girl revealed Executive Ken had taken the challenger away. The news that Xavier lost sent ripples of disbelief through them. When Almond's name came up, Lily vanished instantly. Natalia laughed, revealing Almond was why Lily rejected Xavier. The surrounding girls gasped, suddenly understanding everything. Talk shifted instantly toward comforting Xavier and spreading the news. Almond found himself in a plain white room with nothing inside except 2 chairs. The sudden relocation made Almond realize he had been teleported without warning. Executive Ken sat down first and casually ordered Almond to take the other chair. Almond sat and bluntly asked why such a serious meeting was even necessary. Ken explained that beating the guild's super rookie was a public relations disaster. He stressed that the Rising Star tournament made this timing especially dangerous. Ken offered Almond a solution that sounded suspiciously like recruitment pressure. Almond raised a hand and politely dismantled the tactic with sarcasm. Ken checked a private message and suddenly looked far less confident. Almond casually mentioned Admiral Rudra, landing a direct hit. The mood flipped, and both of them laughed like old acquaintances. Almond finally introduced himself properly as Almond Crocheted. Ken realized Almond had come for someone, not trouble. Before explanations finished, the door slammed open violently. Lily stood there, eyes locked on Almond without hesitation. Almond waved casually, barely starting a greeting. Lily vanished in a blur and crashed into Almond with a fierce hug. She admitted she panicked after hearing Almond was taken away. Executive Ken felt a chill under Lily's brief icy glance. Ken awkwardly suggested discussing their relationship like adults. Lily immediately shut down any nonsense, holding Almond's hand firmly. Ken backed off, asking only for temporary secrecy to manage morale. Lily called the reason stupid, without even hesitating. Almond agreed halfway, choosing indifference over announcements. Ken officially stepped aside, letting them live however they wanted. Lily requested teleportation to Shadow Palace without shame. Ken shook Almond's hand, warning him to keep this quiet. Just then, Natalia rushed in too late to stop the teleport. They vanished, leaving Natalia staring in disbelief. Moments later, Natalia arrived and instantly regretted the timing. After calming down, Almond and Lily walked hand in hand outside. Almond revealed he owned property nearby, ready to start a new phase. Almond, Lily, and Natalia reunited with Julian and Roken outside the guild headquarters. Several senior adventurers paused their conversation when they noticed Lily holding Almond's hand. Riker felt his heart skip as the truth suddenly clicked in his mind. Almond casually waved goodbye, promising to fight them properly next time. Roken added a smug farewell, while Julian nodded politely to the seniors. Once they left, stunned murmurs immediately spread among the seniors. Sam calmly confirmed Almond was indeed Lily's boyfriend. Riker laughed, already imagining how fierce the silver bracket would become. Someone joked about telling Xavier immediately, just to make things worse. Inside Julian's car, Almond announced plans to sell his rare drops. Julian suggested the Skypath treasure house for better prices. Natalia asked about Almond's total earnings from the first floor's second cycle. Almond revealed he had over 2 million gold coins already. He added that 6 rare drops pushed his assets far beyond 15 million. Roken nearly choked, while Julian focused harder on driving. Almond explained how solo boss kills boosted drop rates massively. Lily casually asked if he killed the floor boss alone. Almond smirked and confirmed it was done easily. Natalia sighed, blaming Almond's class for being absurdly overpowered. Julian and Roken burned with curiosity, but chose not to ask. Almond teased a surprise reward chest waiting at his house. Lily guessed it was the solo floor boss reward chest. Almond confirmed, hinting it looked unusually extravagant. At the Skypath treasure house, Julian negotiated fiercely on Almond's behalf. Rare drops sold rapidly, including a shield worth 3 million gold coins. Only team-earned items and Natalia's desired staff were kept. By the end, Almond pocketed 17 million gold coins. With previous earnings added, he officially became temporarily rich. Outside, Almond noticed strange flying vehicles passing overhead. Julian explained custom flying vehicles now cost over 1 million gold coins. Natalia teased Almond about buying one since he was loaded. Lily revealed she secured cheap trash tier rare items through her mentor. Almond learned super-grade trash items would cost him dearly. A requirement window appeared, outlining massive sacrifices ahead. Almond accepted he would stay broke for power, knowing it was worth it. They toured several manufacturers, scanning rows of finished flying vehicles on display. Almond refused to wait weeks and chose a ready-made vehicle instead. The selected craft resembled a jet mixed with a sports car. Its black and red design screamed speed, danger, and expensive taste. The price tag read 1.8 million gold coins without mercy. Almond paid without hesitation, already planning future dungeon profits. The manufacturer promised delivery after one final day of tuning. With business done, the group finally headed toward Almond's new home. Julian stiffened when he noticed the address was near the coastside. When they arrived, Julian froze, instantly recognizing the area. Roken shouted in disbelief at the absurdly beautiful property. Almond entered first, greeted by a lush lawn and quiet pond. Flower beds and open land stretched neatly along the right side. A cobblestone path split into 3, leading deeper inside. At the center stood a 2-floor wooden pavilion like a quiet castle. Natalia immediately declared she was moving in, no conditions attached. Lily revealed the area was restricted, scenic, and monster-prone. Julian confirmed only powerful adventurers lived in this dangerous zone. Almond sensed dense magic formations hidden beneath the estate. Julian confirmed Admiral Rudra spared no expense on the protections. Inside, the main hall stunned everyone with its luxury. After exploring upstairs, they gathered around the living hall. Almond pulled out the massive floor boss reward chest. The chest opened with crackles as colorful orbs burst out. A massive item list appeared, leaving everyone speechless. Natalia shouted, unable to believe the absurd rewards. Even Julian and Roken struggled to process the value. Lily gathered the orbs neatly and urged Almond to inspect them. Almond decided to start with the special grade items first. He opened the orb revealing Wild Berserker's blood. The first reward orb opened, revealing a vial labeled Wild Berserker's blood. As the effects appeared, Roken's jaw nearly hit the floor. Natalia demanded someone slap her, then immediately rejected the idea. Julian calmly confirmed the item surpassed anything he had ever seen. Lily quietly noted that all 3 physical stats jumping by 10 was absurd. Without hesitation, Almond handed the vial directly to Lily. Lily questioned him, clearly not expecting such a valuable gift. Almond explained that his stats were already capped, making the item wasted on him. Natalia grinned, hinting Almond's true stats were already monstrous. Roken and Julian blinked together, suddenly realizing how deep the gap was. Almond revealed his plan to enter a dungeon tomorrow with them as his party. Roken asked if Almond was serious, half expecting it to be a joke. Julian clenched his fist, silently vowing to repay the trust someday. Natalia pouted when she realized she and Lily couldn't join the dungeon. Almond explained guild restrictions and promised to meet afterward. The second orb revealed Dew of Arcane Touch, boosting mental stats heavily. Though expected, the combined 60 stat points still stunned everyone. Almond pulled out a pitch-black skill book and grinned mischievously. Natalia eagerly volunteered to open it, radiating confidence in her luck. She performed a bizarre ritual before slowly opening the book. Lightning erupted as the book transformed mid-air. The Lightning Dragon skill set appeared, containing 2 S-rank skills. Everyone froze, realizing how absurd Natalia's luck truly was. Almond thanked Natalia sincerely, already planning to learn the skills. Next came rare materials, including blood starmite ore. Almond tossed the ore to Roken, telling him to experiment freely. Julian agreed to handle the sale of herbs through the GAA branch. Lily suggested inspecting herbs for seeds to grow them locally. Finally, Almond revealed a super rank lightning material for himself. He decided to commission a sword worthy of his new lightning skills. Almond pulled out a short sword and immediately commented that it looked absurdly cool. The weapon's crystal blade shimmered as its name appeared, Sword of Wilderd. Natalia instantly shouted that it was a high-tier rare weapon. Roken nodded, noting the sword's perks were almost maxed out. Julian immediately focused on the active skill and its abusable cooldown. Almond decided to use it temporarily, already planning dual wielding later. Lily joked that dual wielding was fun and dangerously addictive. Julian warned that dual wielding demanded serious stamina and mastery. He openly questioned Almond's absurd sword mastery after seeing his evaluation. Almond casually admitted talent and promised sword training pointers. The next orb revealed a rare accessory, the Amulet of Blood Berserker. Lily quietly commented that the effects were borderline insane. Roken immediately imagined pugilists becoming nearly unkillable with it. Almond's eyes gleamed as he mentioned a new boss-killing tactic. Lily instantly guessed the combo, involving low vitality and massive strength gain. Natalia blurted out that the idea was straight-up overpowered. Almond refused to explain further, teasing tomorrow's dungeon run. He then pulled out 2 final tickets, both clearly super rank. Natalia dramatically offered her divine luck services again. Roken laughed, fully expecting her luck to finally fail. Almond placed the super-grade item ticket into Natalia's palm. Natalia closed her eyes and muttered nonsense like a true ritualist. With a shout, she activated the ticket in a burst of light. A black robe with gold and blue patterns emerged from the glow. The Nightfall Ebinox robe's super-grade stats stunned everyone silent. Roken seriously questioned whether Natalia had divine luck powers. Julian tried to rationalize it, refusing to accept superstition. Natalia scoffed and tossed the robe straight to Almond. Almond chuckled and prepared for the final roulette ticket. The ticket exploded into sparks, forming a massive 5-section roulette. The giant roulette hovered in the air, split into 5 glowing sections that made everyone tense. The 5 options shone clearly, each one promising wildly different outcomes. Roken stared hardest at the talent option, already dreaming big. Julian calmly explained that talent was easily the most valuable prize here. Almond grinned and openly challenged Natalia not to mess this up. Lily deliberately jinxed Natalia, confident reverse psychology would work. Natalia slammed the button, and the roulette burst into rapid motion. She realized she also had to stop it, which somehow made things worse. Roken clasped his hands together, openly praying for talent. Natalia hit the button again, and the roulette began slowing down. The needle bounced violently between random and talent, teasing everyone. Natalia turned red, muttering nonsense as if bullying reality itself. The needle stopped on random, crushing hopes in perfect silence. A pitch-black box appeared midair, small but ominous. Roken slapped his thigh, furious at how close it was. Julian simply smiled and accepted that luck had its own rules. Lily ordered Natalia to open the box without hesitation. Dark mist leaked out as the box opened, filling the room with mystery. Inside rested a single rough black bead on red velvet. Its name appeared, immediately confusing everyone present. The inspection requirement alone left the room speechless. Before questions could form, Natalia suddenly began glowing violently. Everyone panicked as her aura surged unpredictably. Lily guessed it was class evolution, but Almond sensed something else. Natalia relaxed, eyes closing as the transformation stabilized. Almond quietly claimed the bead, convinced it was something extraordinary. Far away, a cosmic observer watched everything with amusement. The Grimworld tutorial overseer studied Almond with growing interest. She murmured about world lines shifting around him. A vision showed Almond fighting a mythical boss far beyond his level. Golden destruction erased the monster in one impossible moment. Back home, Natalia opened her eyes, glowing with pride. She announced her new innate talent with dramatic flair. The scales of fortune talent left everyone utterly stunned. Natalia basked shamelessly, proving her luck was officially terrifying. An hour later, Julian and Roken finally left the courtyard, both still oddly energized. Roken laughed, openly admitting that Almond felt like a turning point in their lives. Julian joked back, but seriously agreed Almond was someone worth standing behind. Roken gazed at the sky, convinced their future had just taken a better direction. Back inside, Almond, Lily, and Natalia discussed dungeon schedules for tomorrow. A notification popped up as Almond secured a newly opened B-rank dungeon. Lily accepted she would enter a different dungeon due to rank restrictions. With the night still young and no dinner yet, they decided to eat outside. After returning, Natalia headed to her room while Almond and Lily stayed together. Late that night, Almond and Lily shared a quiet, intimate moment alone. The night passed peacefully, and morning arrived far too quickly. At 8 sharp, Almond and Lily joined Natalia preparing breakfast downstairs. They ate together and planned light training before entering their dungeons. After breakfast, Almond and Lily sparred while Natalia practiced magic nearby. When training ended, Almond handed Lily the Nightfall Ebinox robe. Lily suggested giving the Dew of Arcane Touch to Natalia instead. The trio decided to test Natalia's fortune scale one more time. They calculated that 3 months of stored luck should be enough. Natalia committed, watching the fortune scale balance itself. With a deep breath, Natalia drank the dew without hesitation. Natalia suddenly gasped, staring at her interface like she had just won the lottery. She shouted excitedly, barely believing she had actually succeeded. Almond smiled calmly, already expecting something impressive. Natalia eagerly shared the skill details, grinning from ear to ear. The description left both Almond and Lily momentarily speechless. Almond muttered that the skill's long-term value was outright terrifying. Lily immediately advised Natalia to research the skill seriously every day. Natalia agreed enthusiastically, clearly proud of her breakthrough. Suddenly, Almond received a call through his wristwatch. He laughed lightly, announcing their new flying vehicle had arrived. The trio decided to finish guild business before entering any dungeons. They arrived at the League of Firefly Guild in their sleek new ride. People immediately recognized Almond from yesterday's recorded battles. Many were already calling him a super rookie behind his back. Inside the forge, Almond purchased 93 rare-grade trash items. He sacrificed them immediately, unlocking the spirit factory. Lily finished preparing crystal cubes for monster detection tools. Moonlight crystals activated, forming glowing detection devices. Almond distributed the items, already planning experiments. After finishing up, Almond quickly left the guild building. He contacted Roken and learned they were inside the training hall. Sensing hesitation in Roken's voice, Almond rushed over immediately. He arrived to see Julian and Roken hanging upside down helplessly. A blond man from Demand's group controlled the vines smugly. Almond cut the vines cleanly with a casual magic slash. Julian landed gracefully, while Roken crashed onto his back. Demand bristled when Almond called their behavior stupid. Almond calmly revealed his special hunter status. The group fell silent as Admiral Rudra's name came up. Ignoring further provocation, Almond left with Julian and Roken. On the way, Almond learned they lost a bizarre rock-paper-scissors challenge. Almond nearly stumbled after hearing the full rules. Back in the vehicle, Almond prepared to use the Spirit Forge factory. His consciousness entered a dark hall with a skull-shaped maw. Almond evaluated his spirits, deciding to mass-produce items cheaply. With a plan formed, he fed 99 spirits into the maw. Only the floor boss spirit remained as Almond eyed the forge options. Almond stopped before a broadsword slab, already curious about what it could do. A dreamy green-bordered interface appeared the moment he touched the slab. Without hesitation, Almond selected the guaranteed rare-grade forge option. A blank design screen appeared, letting him freely shape the sword's form. Almond realized spirit items could be used as sacrifices and grinned. He sacrificed the glass-blazed shield and watched the counter tick upward. 5 minutes later, the trio landed near a newly opened dungeon gate. 2 middle-aged guards approached, already expecting them. Almond signed the entry form, smiling when asked if 3 were enough. Whispers followed as the guards wondered why only 3 gold ranks entered. The system confirmed their entry into the lair of orc bandit King Traka. They appeared inside a massive hall lit by floating purple and orange lights. Julian noted it was a structured dungeon, likely with the boss at the top. Roken spotted the stairs and realized there was only one path forward. Almond checked their gear, then equipped his own combat setup. Roken blinked at the belt, already impressed by the utility. Almond handed Roken a charm ring, explaining its shield utility. Julian received illusion bombs meant to disrupt monster vision. Almond led the way, choosing not to rely on summons this time. He explained he wanted to refine pure sword combat against monsters. The trio reached a massive door, bracing for the first challenge. Almond pushed the door open with a palm strike and enchantment. The challenge triggered: defeat 50 pin-furred wolves in 5 minutes. Glowing eyes and red-furred shapes emerged from the pitch-black room. Almond lit the room instantly with a moonlight crystal. 50 spiked wolf monsters crowded the 20-meter space. Before plans could form, Almond dashed straight into the horde. 4 wolves fell instantly, sliced apart in a single flowing motion. The wolves swarmed, but Almond moved like he already knew their attacks. Spikes shattered or missed as his sword carved precise paths. Julian realized Almond could overwhelm them even without summons. Roken muttered that Almond's stats felt far higher than theirs. Julian explained it wasn't just stats, but flawless battlefield prediction. Almond dictated the fight, forcing every clash on his terms. His blade met flesh with ruthless precision, ending the first area decisively. Roken rested his chin on his shield, watching Almond butcher wolves like it was a hobby. Julian chose to observe quietly, eyes locked on Almond's every movement. As a swordsman, Julian knew proper foundations took endless repetition to build. Yet Almond's progress felt unfairly fast, far beyond normal understanding. Julian clenched his fist, admitting talent existed but refusing to give up. Moments later, Almond sheathed his sword, breathing out in satisfaction. The room sparkled as magic crystals littered the ground around them. Almond stored most spirits away, keeping only 10 wolf spirits. Roken rushed over, begging Almond to finally show his status. Almond joked about Roken needing fur to look like a real bear. The system confirmed the challenge was officially complete. A strength fruit reward appeared, catching Julian's attention. Almond casually tossed the fruit straight to Julian. Julian froze, stunned by how lightly Almond dismissed the reward. Almond explained it was useless to him and urged them onward. Roken shouted about the absurd rarity of stat-boosting rewards. Almond shared his spirit devour skill and full status openly. Roken and Julian stopped dead, eyes nearly popping out. Almond reached the next door and warned them to hurry up. With a blast, the door shattered inward violently. Beyond it lay a massive barracks packed with orc bandit warriors. Julian quickly warned about dungeon density as sweat formed. Almond calmly answered with a terrifying density value. The membrane sealed as an orc roared, locking them inside. Roken charged in first, shield raised to protect Almond. Julian followed with a massive wind slash that halved the front line. Almond grinned, telling them numbers meant nothing here. He vanished instantly, relying only on physical enchantment. Midair, he wrapped 5 orcs with a compressed mana thread. The sword thread tightened, slicing them apart instantly. Almond landed, and erased another group with a wavy slash. His movement was too random and fast for orcs to track. Roken started recording, calling Almond a literal monster. Julian handled incoming orcs while studying Almond intensely. Almond danced through the battlefield, senses fully unleashed. While Almond and Lily were dungeon diving, Admiral Rudra entered an A-rank dungeon completely alone. 7 hours later, Rudra exited calmly, barely showing signs of exhaustion. The moment he stepped out, his wristwatch vibrated with an unexpected notification. It was an YouTube video link with a loud, attention-grabbing title. The dungeon results listed impossible clear speeds across every area. Rudra immediately recognized the fighting style shown in the footage. He nodded during the first area, clearly approving of the execution. By the second area, Rudra noticed how fast Almond's combat sense was evolving. When the third area played, Rudra stopped reacting entirely. Something clearly clicked, and his expression hardened instantly. He made an urgent call, ordering the video removed immediately. Without delay, Rudra contacted Almond directly. By late afternoon, Almond's group had already exited the dungeon hours ago. Lily's dungeon took longer, but she finished safely not long after. The entire group met up for a late meal, starving and exhausted. Just as food arrived, Almond received Admiral Rudra's call. He answered simply, mostly listening rather than talking. Rudra warned that experts could still identify Almond through subtle clues. The call ended after a few minutes, leaving Almond quietly thoughtful. Lily immediately asked what Admiral Rudra had said. Almond explained the video issue and the need for stricter censorship. Roken visibly shrank, worried he might have caused trouble. Almond reassured him, saying it was only a precaution. After eating, Almond announced he wanted to start a business. Back at the villa, everyone gathered around the spacious hall. Almond opened a black portal, dumping piles of crafted spirit items. Crossbows, spike bombs, armor, and weapons quickly filled the room. Almond explained he had crafted them using dungeon spirits. Julian and Roken stared in absolute disbelief at the scale. Natalia immediately realized how profitable this could become. Lily suggested pricing them cheaply to dominate the market. They began sorting items into batches and tagging prices. Almond shared his spirit devour skill details with Julian and Roken. Roken estimated the hall could earn nearly 2 million gold coins. Almond smiled, asking how they should sell everything efficiently. Julian raised 3 fingers and calmly laid out 3 possible business paths. The first option involved building a website and pushing ads everywhere. The second option meant partnering with major organizations and losing profit margin. Julian strongly recommended the third option without hesitation. Roken immediately backed him up and named Silverbird Services. He explained the service belonged to the Silverbird Tree Guild. Magical silver-light birds handled global deliveries at absurd speed. Almond nodded, already understanding why this option was ideal. Roken detailed the system, noting they only charged delivery fees. However, someone had to manage goods during daily pickup hours. Almond smiled, already thinking of Alfred for the role. The conversation shifted to rising production-type subclasses. Julian mentioned exotic subclasses like tattoo masters, granting unique boosts. Lily agreed, convinced stranger subclasses would keep appearing. Natalia wondered aloud about their future subclasses with curiosity. Almond casually declared they would reach gold rank next month. He outlined an intense 22-day training schedule. With a wave, Almond summoned Alfred to finalize the plan. Alfred accepted responsibility for managing daily deliveries. 2 hours later, Silverbird Services' setup was fully complete. Spectral wolves now patrolled the estate as silent guards. Julian and Roken left, promising to resume training soon. Lily announced she needed to meet teacher Arya for training. Natalia clenched her fist, ready to finally take her delayed exam. Almond revealed he would meditate for 24 hours straight. Natalia teased Lily about teacher Arya's concerns. Almond pulled Lily close and proposed a sparring session. Lily eagerly accepted, eyes sparkling with excitement. Natalia rushed off, borrowing Almond's aircraft to reach her exam. At the guild, Natalia faced her combat examination head-on. Waves of monsters attacked as her flute magic filled the hall. Lady Arya observed silently, surprised by Natalia's stamina. Brian Earthcross appeared, intrigued by the unfolding performance. Lady Arya admitted Natalia was improving at a frightening pace. Brian froze after learning Natalia's specialized class was SS rank. The uploaded combat video explodes across the internet, viewers stunned by the sword user's absurd movement and speed. Comments flood in non-stop, people arguing whether the cloak or boots are the real reason he moves like a glitch. Some viewers slow the footage frame by frame, convinced the cloak briefly shines before his speed spikes. Others swear his boots are boosting jumps and landings, but everyone agrees his control is insane. Gold-rank monsters drop like bugs on a windshield, making the video title look like a blatant lie. Speculation turns serious when people start calling him anything but a silver-rank adventurer. A few even wonder if he'll show up in the Rising Star tournament and flip everything upside down. Then Sword God himself comments, casually calling the unknown swordsman a true monster. That single comment sends shockwaves, dragging even more attention to the already viral clip. Meanwhile, Roken quietly uploads the video again, heavier censorship, cleaner edits, louder music. Only Almond remains on screen, his face blurred, items altered, and every other presence erased. The views keep climbing steadily, not explosive but dangerously consistent. A handful of viewers feel a strange sense of familiarity, like they've seen that cloak before. No matter how hard they try, the swordsman's face refuses to stay in their memory. Almond's Oblivion talent quietly does its job, erasing impressions without anyone noticing. Far away, in the northern mountains, an old man meditates beside a thin waterfall. A floating table and teacup hover before him, wrapped in controlled mana. A hologram plays Almond's censored fight, reflected sharply in the old man's eyes. The man smiles, already convinced he's looking at something rare. Duncan Sylvester decides then and there that he must find the swordsman. He contacts his son through a custom wrist device, wasting no time. Clear orders are given: find the adventurer, no reckless moves allowed. Their conversation drifts briefly to old monsters and unfinished proposals. Soon after, Duncan reaches out to an old friend who sounds instantly annoyed. Admiral Rudra answers, already knowing exactly what this is about. Rudra warns him bluntly to stay away from the boy. Duncan laughs it off, insisting he only wants a friendly spar. Rudra promises the swordsman will appear at the Rising Star tournament. Duncan pushes further, wanting to clash blades himself just once. After some tense back and forth, Rudra finally agrees, but only after the tournament. The call between two old powerhouses continues, drifting into darker, more dangerous territory. Rudra explains he plans to investigate places no one wants to talk about. He warns that triggering the floor boss could cost humanity irreplaceable veterans. Duncan probes further, wondering if Rudra is walking into real danger alone. After a brief silence, Rudra agrees to let Duncan join him when the time comes. Elsewhere, Almond finally wakes after a full day locked in deep meditation. A gentle voice greets him the moment he regains awareness. Almond realizes his summons guarded him the entire time, without moving an inch. He encourages her to explore, train, or simply follow her curiosity. Sylvia happily heads to the garden, already planning her next experiment. Almond watches with satisfaction, pleased his summons are thinking for themselves. He reflects on how intelligent spirit wraiths could eventually evolve their own powers. Outside, Alfred and Dark Pope Benedict linger around the estate grounds. Alfred reports that every single product has been sold successfully. Almond checks his balance and nearly freezes at the absurd number. Over 2 million gold coins confirm he just struck business gold. With nothing urgent, Almond lets his summons freely occupy themselves. He even offers Benedict a spar by summoning the infernal night. After half an hour, Almond wraps things up and prepares to focus on himself. He checks in with Lily and learns she and Natalia are still training offshore. With time to spare, Almond decides it's perfect for serious combat training. He requests a blue-bordered B-rank dungeon from Marshal Lapa. Moments later, he steps into Delia's meadow at the horizon's end. Endless fields of glowing flowers stretch beneath a perpetual twilight sky. The beauty feels wrong somehow, like it's hiding sharp teeth. Distinct zones appear ahead, clearly marking monster territories. The nearest area is a silvertree glade filled with whispering leaves. A system message confirms the Whisperlight glade has begun. Two fairy-like figures dance in a clearing carved with strange symbols. One blue and one pink, they freeze mid-motion and glare at Almond. Their identities and gold rank status flash clearly before his eyes. Almond grips his sword, ready to test whether his new skill tweaks worked. Almond's eyes flare with a blue-gold glow as he activates his Riftfell eyes without hesitation. Hidden details peel away as the true nature of the fairy monsters is exposed to him. The sylphs respond instantly, summoning glowing orbs that surge toward him together. Almond stacks buffs in one smooth motion, power snapping tightly around his body. He launches skyward, vanishing in a blur and leaving the orbs far behind. From the air, he channels mana into his blade and releases Wild Blade. The slash screams forward, growing sharper and deadlier with every meter. Both sylphs are cut apart in a single blink, their forms shattering instantly. Almond absorbs the lingering spirits and keeps moving deeper into the glade. Another pair appears, but this time he treats the fight like practice. With his boosted perception, nothing here can even graze him. One pair after another falls as he refines mana control instead of rushing. Their collected spirits are tossed into his spirit forge factory without pause. He leisurely clears every zone, turning the dungeon into a controlled exercise. 2 hours later, he finally reaches the boss area, completely in the zone. His aura settles, silver-white sparks flickering in his almond-colored eyes. A system challenge triggers the moment he steps into the arena. At the center stands a crystal-armored centaur, massive and imposing. The centaur roars and turns, locking onto Almond instantly. Almond releases Espada ad Grimville, his domain flooding the battlefield. A slash manifests behind the boss as Almond swaps places instantly. The centaur reacts too late, its weapon split apart effortlessly. 6 slashes bloom outward, carving the boss into separated pieces. Gravity is severed, and the pieces drift helplessly in midair. Almond repositions instantly and strikes straight at the exposed core. With a sharp twist, the core shatters and the boss collapses. A golden chest, spirit and crystal remain where the boss stood. Almond calmly stores the rewards and turns toward the horizon. At the dungeon's edge, star-like lights shimmer across the endless sky. He closes his eyes, fully immersed in understanding his new domain skill. Almond quietly reviews the details of his new domain skill, realizing just how absurd it truly is. Espada ad Grimville defines him as both the blade and the eyes within its territory. Inside the domain, nothing escapes his perception and nothing resists being cut. The sheer authority of the skill sends his mind racing, almost intoxicating. He recalls forging this power during 24 hours of relentless enlightenment. Espada ad Grimville becomes the perfect expression of offense and comprehension combined. Along the way, his Riftfell eyes also evolve, sharpening alongside his understanding. So far, he has refined 3 techniques, each more dangerous than the last. For now, those techniques feel sufficient, at least until his next breakthrough. His focus shifts inward as he explores what he calls the skill room. This mental space, reveals the foundation of all his abilities laid bare. 3 massive sections form within the skill room, each clearly separated. One belongs to his primary class, pulsing with stable, familiar patterns. Another represents his specialized class, far denser and more complex. The last section holds classless skills, simple yet deceptively flexible. Each skill appears as a semi-metallic rune etched with alien geometry. He realizes items also carry similar runes, hidden from weaker perception. Although he cannot create runes yet, he can dissect and adjust them. He focuses on his primary class skills, determined to influence them directly. Time vanishes as he experiments, mana flowing in controlled patterns. 2 hours pass before he finally steps back and reviews his findings. From his experiments, a clear structure behind all skills becomes apparent. Every skill rune is condensed, mana locked in a precise stasis form. The first layer acts as the design, shaping how the skill behaves. Without the other layers, that design alone does absolutely nothing. The core section defines power, attribute, and how violently mana behaves. Different core patterns lead to controlled flow or chaotic explosions. The final execution section determines how and where the skill manifests. Duration, after effects, and efficiency all hinge on this last layer. Satisfied with the framework, Almond prepares to craft something new. He selects a fresh concept, inspired by his recently devised sword thread. Almond focuses on sword thread, recalling how the razor-thin mana behaved like a perfect invisible blade. He begins designing a new skill rune, shaping the thread into a spring meant to coil instantly. The trigger is set to pure thought, allowing immediate activation without movement. For the core, he keeps things simple, balancing mana flow to preserve cutting power. He sets the execution to channel continuously, as long as mana is supplied. Without extra effects, the skill is pure damage, clean and brutally honest. Satisfied, Almond decides it's time to test the rune in reality. He approaches a tall crystal growth, jutting from the ground nearby. With a thought, he activates the new skill rune. A spring-shaped sword thread materializes and coils tightly around the crystal. The mana cost hits hard, draining far more than Almond expected. Instead of crushing the crystal, the thread disperses uselessly. Almond admits the attempt failed, but his grin says otherwise. Using the failure, he pinpoints exactly what needs refinement. He spends the next half-hour rebuilding the rune with precise adjustments. The improved version activates with far less mana drain. This time, the crystal shatters instantly under the tightened coil. Almond nods, satisfied enough to move on for now. He names the completed skill serpent coil thread blade. With that done, Almond pulls out the Lightning Dragon skill book. He feels genuine excitement at the thought of mastering lightning affinity. The first page hits him with a brutal but straightforward requirement. To learn lightning, he has to get struck by it on purpose. Almond recalls other adventurers training in extreme elemental conditions. He immediately starts thinking of places with constant lightning. A lightning-themed dungeon clicks instantly in his mind. He exits the meadow dungeon without hesitation. Moments later, he contacts Marshal Lopal for information. Lopal explains that lightning dungeons are rare in their city. Thunderbird City appears on the map, glowing with lightning alignment. 2 dungeons are identified there, both already claimed. One is too dangerous, the other already scheduled by a local guild. Almond realizes how critical this dungeon is for his future growth. He presses Lopal, asking if there's any possible way in. No matter the cost, Almond decides he must enter that lightning dungeon. Marshal Lopal explains that buying entry slots is easy, but strangers inside a dungeon always carry risk. Almond weighs the danger and realizes he honestly doesn't feel threatened at all. Between his summons, items, and raw stats, he knows he's far from defenseless. He keeps his legendary class secret, choosing to hide it behind a simpler public image. Instead, he plans to let his primary class take the spotlight if needed. He suggests sending guards along, confident even extra eyes won't slow him down. Lapal agrees, but makes it clear Julian and Roken won't be joining. Almond accepts easily and prepares to leave within the hour. On a whim, he tests recalling a summon from extreme distance. To his surprise, the infernal knight vanishes instantly into storage. Distance clearly doesn't matter when recalling his spirit wraiths. Back home, Almond stores every summon except Alfred and leaves him in charge. At the same time, Lady Arya trains Lily on a darkness-aligned island. The island itself radiates deep darkness, perfect for forging an assassin. Natalia trains elsewhere, leaving Lily alone with her mentor below ground. Lady Arya pushes Lily to sink her senses fully into the shadows. Lily admits her thoughts are still drifting toward Almond. Their conversation turns sharp when Lily refuses to give him up. Lady Arya threatens to end the mentorship, but Lily doesn't budge. In the end, Lady Arya compromises and demands proof at the tournament. Lily promises Almond will take first place, without a shred of doubt. Hours later, Almond arrives at the GAA under a pitch-black sky. Two gold-rank guards, Nikki and Anton, wait beside the ready aircraft. The jet departs at 2:20, slicing through the night toward Thunderbird City. By dawn, Almond sleeps briefly in the Thunderbird City branch dorms. High in the northern mountains, another raid group gathers at a dungeon gate. Some complain loudly about 3 paid outsiders joining the raid. The leader shuts them down and explains the contribution rules. Before more complaints form, an aircraft descends onto the peak. 3 figures leap down from the aircraft and land smoothly. As Almond approaches, he freezes when he recognizes a familiar face. Henry stiffens in shock, clearly recognizing Almond instantly. Whispers ripple through the party as suspicion clicks into place. They all realize it at once. The poster swordsman is standing right here. The GAA escorts immediately realize Almond knowing someone here changes the entire dynamic. Henry forces a polite smile, clearly struggling to process Almond being here. He blurts out the obvious question, unable to believe Almond is still silver rank. Almond laughs it off, confirming he's still silver and greeting Henry like old times. Their handshake carries unspoken tension, as Henry quietly warns him about trouble. Introductions happen fast, but nobody here is truly fooled. Everyone remembers the rumor about the Vice Guild leader's son getting crushed. The grudge never vanished, it just stayed quiet. Henry cuts the tension and leads everyone toward the dungeon portal. The Thunderbird Guild enters first, followed by Almond and his escorts. Thunder Hills greet them with roaring skies and chain lightning trees. Most lightning here is artificial, shaped by mana instead of nature. The first targets appear, lightning horn rhinos grazing aggressively. A party member mocks Almond, warning him to stay out of real fights. Almond assures them he won't interfere, which only earns more doubt. The Thunderbird party executes their formation with practiced precision. Henry stays back, choosing to observe rather than fight. Almond casually summons 3 towering spirit wraiths beside him. Henry frowns, assuming the summons are too weak for this dungeon. Almond admits he just wants them to stretch, then points toward the lightning forest. Ignoring the warnings, Almond leads his group away from the main fight. Starlight Beast and Chimera Crystallis suddenly fixate on a dropped crystal. Almond pauses, realizing they want to eat the lightning-infused loot. He turns to Nikki and Anton, asking for help clearing a nearby group. Instead of answering, Almond pulls out an ordinary-looking spirit sword. In one burst, he stacks multiple buffs and vanishes forward. A lightning horn rhino splits in 2 before anyone blinks. A glowing white-blue thread wraps another rhino's head and shreds it instantly. The remaining rhinos fire lightning, but Almond is already airborne. 2 swift slashes drop one, and a final thrust finishes the last. Nikki and Anton stare, realizing they never had time to help. Henry watches in disbelief, his understanding completely shattered. The Thunderbird Guild turns toward Almond, confusion spreading fast. Henry finally admits it out loud, confirming Almond really did kill the rhinos alone. The Thunderbird party falls silent, disbelief spreading through their ranks. They watch Almond walk ahead as two summons casually consume magic crystals. Quiet whispers start, guessing his classes and mana control must be abnormal. Henry knows they still don't grasp Almond's real sword skill. Almond asks Ashkar why he ignored the crystals, genuinely curious. Ashkar explains he only gains power from fire-aligned resources. Almond turns to the others, asking what eating crystals actually gave them. Sparks flare as Starlight Beast signal it feels noticeably stronger. Chimera Crystallist also responds, its crystal body glinting brightly. Almond checks their stats and freezes at the increase. He realizes his summons grow by consuming magic crystals. Nikki confirms that many summons have unique growth mechanisms. Almond grins, already planning to feed them better materials. He asks Nikki and Anton to hunt monsters while he tempers himself with lightning. Nikki warns him about meditating under unpredictable lightning. Almond nods and launches upward, leaping from tree to tree. Lightning slams into the treetops, chaining violently through the forest. Thunder Blitz monkeys absorb the charged atmosphere, glowing brighter. Anton equips his drill gauntlet and prepares to engage. Nikki calmly gathers purple lightning around her wand. Almond stands atop a tree as lightning shatters his fortification. Two monkeys rush him, but he doesn't even react. Anton rockets in, drilling one monkey and kicking another down. Nikki unleashes 10 lightning nails that skewer the rest instantly. The overcharged lightning tears them apart despite their empowerment. Starlight Beast eagerly devours the fallen crystals. Chimera Crystallist joins in, crystals orbiting faster. Infernal Knight takes damage, struggling against a lightning monkey. Anton finishes the attacker and listens to Ashkar's request for a duel. A single monkey is kicked toward Ashkar for an honorable fight. 10 minutes later, the Thunderbird Guild reaches the forest edge. They stare at Almond, being struck by lightning like it's training. Henry calls for a short break as confusion lingers. Questions surface about Almond's backing and terrifying potential. Henry admits Admiral Rudra stands behind Almond. The name alone sends a chill through the group. Luke quietly plots, eyes gleaming with dangerous curiosity. Lightning keeps slamming into Almond's body, each strike carving deeper understanding into his mana. Every impact turns his mana into a living conduit, carrying lightning's raw signal. When his defense breaks, the lightning etches itself directly into his flesh. Pain tries to distract him, but his focus never slips. Years of brutal physical training now pay off in full. Instead of resisting, he lets lightning fully pass through him. Body and mana synchronize, both soaking in lightning's essence. He forgets pain entirely, drowning in pure sensation and comprehension. A cold system voice finally breaks the trance. A new skill locks into place, lightning elemental mastery. Almond opens his eyes and grins like a kid winning a prize. The skill promises lightning-infused mana and disruptive combat effects. Stronger lightning catches his attention further up the mountain. The mountain looms vast, crackling with unstable power. Despite medium density, the dungeon's golden border radiates danger. Almond descends calmly, checking how long he's been training. Only half an hour passed, shocking everyone watching. Almond immediately suggests heading for even harsher lightning. He hops onto Starlight Beast, resting as they move. His pet's growing stats earn a quiet nod of approval. The idea of grinding spirit growth clicks into place. He plans to coordinate dungeon choices through Marshal Lapal. At the mountain base, Almond hops down and opens his storage. Lightning-themed items spill out, crackling with residual power. He hands the gear to Nikki and Anton without hesitation. They're shocked by the gear's synergy with lightning affinity. Almond casually mentions he can extend their lifespan. They realize his class creates items and summons both. The sheer potential leaves them both envious and speechless. Almond turns back to the mountain, eager to test a dangerous theory. The group halts midway up the mountain, where dark clouds hammer a roaring river with lightning. This spot crackles with far stronger lightning, exactly what Almond was looking for. Knowing the risk, Almond summons Sylvia and Dark Pope for emergency support. Nikki and Anton sense he's about to attempt something reckless. Almond forms an unusually thin fortification, layered with body and fold. Anton and Nikki both realize something is seriously wrong. Before anyone can stop him, lightning crashes down. His thin fortification shatters instantly under the strike. For a heartbeat, his entire body lights up from the inside. Then his body goes limp, and his breathing stops. Nikki and Anton rush forward in pure horror. Sylvia and Dark Pope act instantly, pouring healing into his scorched body. Nikki realizes Almond deliberately shut down parts of his own mind. Anton understands the gamble, total immersion through near death. The summons gather, uncertain but refusing to believe he's gone. Dark Pope calmly points out that Almond is still alive. Deep inside, Almond's consciousness slips toward darkness. A familiar emptiness threatens to swallow his awareness. Faces of Lily and Natalia flash through his fading mind. That memory ignites his will and pulls him back. His perception shifts, and all he can see is lightning. Blue lightning becomes gold, slamming into his being. Instead of destroying him, it fuses with his consciousness. Lightning stops being an outside force and becomes part of him. A dreamlike world of lightning forms around his thoughts. He feels every trait of lightning as if it's his own nature. Chaos becomes order as he senses every surge before it strikes. The storm responds, roaring as if acknowledging him. His bond with lightning deepens until it reaches his soul. A system voice announces a monumental breakthrough. Lightning elemental mastery surges straight to S rank.